Ready to roll.
Well, happy Sunday night. We are live. It is Sunday night in Brisbane, Australia, but not only are we connected to Brisbane, Australia, we are connected to Mr. Jas Hayer, coming
Here I
to
am.
you live from the United Kingdom. So we are officially a global show.
We're on the map.
Officially.
This is it.
Worldwide.
Like, look out, Top Gear, because I have seen that Jeremy Clarkson's retiring, so there is room at the top for another set of bandits, and I think that that's us.
I think we've got it sorted.
I think we've got it covered because we now have our UK correspondent who I'm going to go straight to the top. Jas, you've been car shopping. I've been loving your car shopping. Tell us what you bought.
I have had a great time. I should be over here working. I think we can tell the audience that, that the Wheelhouse sent me over here as
we did
as a test, test of the market.
We're a big budget show. So
foreign correspondent.
Our international correspondent. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Exactly.
We'll get your shirt made up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And guys, have I been shopping? Holy.
Mate, the photos that you've been posting, mother of God.
The market over here is nuts.
Isn't it? Look how cheap it is. There's so many good things, and the prices are like $1 to our $500.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I was actually going to throw up some photos and ask you guys to see if you could guess the price. But I think we've got a little bit of a delay. I don't know if that's going to work, but
we can. This is the best part, though, mate, because through Zoom, as long as you do it through Zoom, that'll work.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to jump right into it. Well, I think, first of all, we all know, so just as a bit of intro, so I've come over here to do some work
for Wheelhouse.
Yeah, for the Wheelhouse.
The Wheelhouse podcast.
Yeah, you don't have a real job. This is it.
Yeah, unpaid.
We've gambled our whole lives on this.
So I'm over here for probably about 6 months, for those of you who don't know, to start with, maybe longer. But, I've hit the ground running. My weekends have just been on Marketplace, dodging through all the junk that's on there to try and find stuff. And those who follow me on my Instagram has probably seen all the stuff I've been posting. And I've actually managed to secure an old BMW 840. So the original, the proper one, the one that all the, private jet owners used to own. So I've been driving that around, the old barge. The B pillarless, the one.
So hot.
The sad thing is, though, in the UK, you can't really drive with the windows down because it's so cold.
You just suffer through it, though.
Windows down and the heater.
Yeah, mate, turn the heater up and just
the footy on and everything.
What's the point of having no B pillar if you can't show it off?
Absolutely, mate. You got it. What do the girls say? Fashion is pain or something. There's some stupid saying, mate. You got to suffer to look like a gangster.
Something like that. But while I bought it, when you buy something and you automatically go into, oh man, I probably should have waited and bought something else. But so I'll share some of the stuff that I've been seeing, and I've just gone to share screen. It says host has disabled participants screen sharing. So
absolutely,
if we can,
because we're sick of you showing pornography on the thing. Hang on a sec.
So I don't know if we could change that, but if we can,
no, that didn't work. All right, let me try something else. I'll see if I can figure it out. Again, I don't know what I'm doing here, Jess.
Tell us about the 840 tell us about what you bought.
Absolutely.
So what we've got, so what I've managed to find is, look.
Well, how did you find it is the question.
Marketplace. Where else?
Didn't you go to look at another car and you were like, oh, what's that?
I did. So the story is, I went to look at one of my favorite cars of all time, which is a 4-door E36 M3, which never came to Australia, remember? And it was in my favorite color, the purple, which there are two different shades of purple. There's a Daytona, and then there's a Techno Violet, and it was a Daytona. And I went to see it, and it looked really good. And I went, I've got to get this thing into the shop and get it checked out. And I'll show you some photos of what came back. And on the way back from looking at that car, I stopped in to see an 840, and it was in such good condition. The guy had built it ground up. All underneath is brand new. He's repainted it. He's done the interior. He's done everything. He's done everything on it, and it looked amazing. And I just saw it, and I was like, I need to buy this right now. Like, it was one of those spur of the moment, probably stupid decision, hardly any negotiation. So viewers, don't try this at home.
Nah, do it. This is the best.
I dived in. So it's an Orient Blue 1996 840 Ci, fully restored, pillarless. And remember how in the 1990s, you know how Porsche and other manufacturers, you could buy a green with a green interior. Well, this is a dark blue with a light blue interior, so it's period correct.
It's disgusting.
90.
I love it. That's revolting. Actually, Jas, you'll appreciate this. I just got a new Motorola phone to match my 90s cars.
Is it a V?
With the little flip, the micro TAC, I think it's called. Because I'm going period correct everything.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I think you need one for yours.
Yeah. Does it actually work or?
Oh, shit, no. That'd be stupid. I just wanted to light up.
I think I tried that a while ago with my old Nokia 3210, the brick. I tried punch that in, put a SIM card in, and it just came up like dead, no no signal, no
won't charge. Yeah, won't hold charge.
Yeah, won't hold charge, and it's just like, well, looks like I'm just using this to play Snake now.
That's so funny. Hey, have we all shared that we're live on the show? Because what I love is because we're so disorganised, we don't tell people in advance, not until we figure it out.
I believe I have. So you would all be tagged.
So if we just share yours,
yes.
What have you shared it on? The grams,
Instagram,
the books?
Yep.
There you go. Megaphone has sent me a message, 8:34. Luckily, that was a while ago. And go, is it live again?
Megaphone has a question.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, wants to get into stuff. Thoughts on the new Top Gear Australia coming?
Or we had huge thoughts around that, actually. We were talking about that just before we went live. Or maybe
have you heard about that, Jas? Have you seen there's been a new Top Gear Australia?
Are you aware?
I think it was sort of rumours or rumblings as I was leaving like a month ago. But I haven't heard any more since then.
It's been confirmed.
What's the disaster going to look like?
They're shooting it now. Well, there's
I have a contentious opinion on it. I think we've actually discussed this before, where the reason Top Gear was successful was because it was just like, at the time, Jeremy was well known, but I wouldn't call him famous. He was just a well known figure in the UK and to car people. And then it was just a couple of other also-rans that they threw in together who were journalists. And they just happened to get along and they made banter. And then they got massive and they became really big and they became massive celebrities. Like they were always in the newspapers and everyone was, what's Richard doing? What's James doing? What's Jeremy doing? They became very much like A-list celebrities the world over. And it seems like when they try and do these other Top Gears, they think that they need to get celebrities in to pull a crowd. And that's what they've done. They've done it again. This time they've got Bo Ryan is one of the guests. Bo Ryan is an ex-football player, appeared on the Footy Show. Bit of a comedian, bit of a funny guy. Couldn't give two shits about his opinion on a car. The other one is Anthony LaPaglia's brother, who I don't even know his name, but he's Anthony LaPaglia, the actor's brother. I don't even know his name.
Yeah. Jonathan LaPaglia.
Don't give a shit about his opinion on a car. And then you've got Moog from Mighty Car Mods, who's basically going to be carrying the thing.
The only car guy on a car show.
Yeah. Here we go. Megaphone's just jumped in. He said, the dude who hosted The Amazing Race. Yeah, LaPaglia. He's the guy with the massive guns, isn't he? Like, has absolute...
Yeah, you can see he's yoked in the photos.
Absolute set of pythons. Des and Troy. Look at those... oh, mate.
He's vascular.
Look at the veins.
But, like, why do we have these other randoms?
Who are the other guys? Who's the guy on the left?
That's Bo Ryan, the ex-football player turned Footy Show comedian.
Here's my thoughts,
like Footy
right?
Show, like the Footy Show.
Oh, the Footy Show.
Yeah.
There you go. I was trying to put two and two together. There you
I
go.
don't.
I mean, there's a real car guy in the middle.
I don't think the show ever.
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
If we look at, say, Jeremy Clarkson, right? Do you think Top Gear would have been popular without him? Although all three of them got famous, it was him.
Mate, Jeremy carried it on his shoulders because he was witty and dry.
Yep.
Exactly, and he didn't give a shit, right, about what he said.
You watch the stuff he says, and it's what got him in trouble in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever he goes, he's who will be popular if he was still working and stuff, right? Like the Clarkson's Farm and things like that.
His farm show's going hard now, which is amazing too, because he's just a fascinating character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's unintentionally funny.
He is unintentionally funny.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably very intentional.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you look at all the other Top Gears, even since the original Top Gear has passed and what they've tried to replace it with, they've always done this metric of putting some famous people in and then saying, oh, we'll get some car people and some famous people. We can't just have all car people. why
Wrong.
the original was all car people.
Yeah.
And I think the only one that's gotten it slightly right was the first Top Gear America.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Rutledge
actually.
Wood, massive, like huge car nerd, actual car nerd, like
That's
just
what you
knows
mean.
dumb, like he's like us, just
Yeah,
knows dumb
just
information.
knows dumb stuff.
You got Tanner Faust,
Yeah.
decorated
Yeah.
driver,
Awesome.
can drive anything,
Can send.
awesome. And then you had Adam, I don't know, he's a comedian, but he seemed like a bit of a car guy, and that actually worked. That was actually a really good show. And then it seems like since then, every single version, you had the new Top Gear that came out with Chris Harris, Paddy McGuinness, and the cricketer.
And isn't that the problem? You're there going with,
Oh.
that guy from that thing. I've seen him before in
Yeah.
something.
The Paddy McGuinness comedian and a cricketer.
Well, you were on the last Top Gear.
I was on the last Top Gear.
you-
I don't
I mean,
know if you guys saw me. I've
you were
actually
the
been.
host.
You wouldn't believe how fast
Oh,
I move.
sure.
I've been working with Scott. I've been working with Scotty Pippen the last few days. I'm not sure if you guys are across this, but I've been flying around Australia in a private jet. I had a strawberry on a private jet this morning. I'm not sure if you've been watching my socials.
Remarkable how much you do, Scotty.
It's astonishing, and I'm also a Broadway actor. So look, you wouldn't know. There's this little movie you might have heard about called Kenny. I'm number one with you on number twos, and all
I do love it.
I'm going to back off there. The comments are going wild. We got Ty Jeff saying, "I'm just here because Rory, the hot rig, has a gangster shirt on."
Oh, yes, he's noticed. Yeah, correct.
Yes, so a little bit of animal style.
So Animal Style is a drift crew or a drift group from the US who sort of, when drifting went professional, is getting into the nuts and bolts, but when drifting went professional outside of Japan, the Americans and I guess the Westerners took it very seriously and started making the cars and designing them to be as good as they possibly can, which made them very ugly, and everyone calls them like they look like a protein bar. They're very competitive and they're very good, but they look gross. And there's a lot of guys, sort of grassroots guys, like Animal Style, who said it doesn't matter if your car's like the best drift car ever, if it looks like shit, your car still needs to look good.
Amen. You got to have style.
So their cars are
Style
like
points.
all slammed, like the suspension isn't, like the geometry isn't perfect for drifting, but they all look really good.
Yeah.
And that sort of took off. It became a big popularity thing. I'm a big supporter of that sort of. Ty Jeffries is virtually carrying it for Australia at the moment,
Good on you, Ty.
and trying to bring it back himself. So
Nice work, mate. Anything to bring drift back, I'm all in for all kinds of drift.
yeah, he's
It's
actually
my
got he's got an
favourite
event
motorsport.
coming up called S Chassis Festival,
Fantastic. So
which
what-
is leaning in on that.
yeah. Well, so my E36 isn't much of an S chassis, but that's going to be my drifty boy.
Yeah, but yeah, it'll be like it's more like forget about trying to go pro.
Yeah. Mate, yeah, halfway hangs. Those
Yeah.
guys, like that's got
It's
it
exactly
right.
right.
If anybody
event.
watched,
Love that
if
event.
anybody followed anything from halfway hangs, what are they up to? Event number 11.
Yep.
And that is everything that drifting was ever supposed to be was just good times.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think drifting was ever supposed to get out of grassroots outside of Japan.
Yeah.
Because Japan, their pro level,
Is-
the cars still look sick.
And it's poetry, the way they
Yeah.
run the events in the small places and the small, it's just magical to watch.
It all comes out of driving culture as well. Like guys like Ty and a few others, they preferred the Japanese drive differently to the Americans and all the Westerners. The Westerners essentially took it and were like, how do I be good at this?
How
This
do
is
I
what
make
we
a
need
lot
to
of
do,
money at this too?
and this is how I do it perfectly. Whereas the Japanese are like, you're not meant to do it perfectly. It's about driving a car in a stylish fashion. So yeah, it's a classic case of a miscommunication.
Here we
Tokyo
go.
Drift, wasn't it?
Oh, now we've also had Chris,
Classic case of the American version of something being
Yeah.
not as good
How
as
do we
the
do this
original.
as best as fucking possible?
Yeah.
how do we take cheese and put it into a can? Now, Chris Campbell says James May was a car journalist before Top Gear, worked for a few car mags in the UK.
He did.
He did. Your Autocar famously fired him.
Really?
Yeah.
Talk
Bet
me
they
through that.
regret
Do you know
that.
that story?
I don't remember exactly why they. I can't. He's definitely told it before.
Yeah, wow. I
He's
didn't
got
know
fired
that.
a couple of times,
Yeah.
I think, from those car magazines. And I think, I don't know why. I think they were just, I don't think he was exciting enough or
Really?
something. But
Yeah.
I'd believe that.
I can't. It lies. I don't
And then
believe you.
Richard was also a journalist too, I believe, a car journalist as well.
he was a radio host and a car, I think,
Yeah.
obviously a car nut. But
So they were car guys, and they weren't household names. So I don't understand. Like, I hope, like Scott and I were just talking about this before we went on air. I hope the new Top Gear Australia does really well, and it's really great
Absolutely.
because it births a new generation of car enthusiasts and people
Exactly.
who might not have been into cars. That's what Top Gear did.
That's what it did. It made
Top
it
Gear was into
mainstream.
people. I went to because it was probably in its heyday when I was in high school, and people kids who weren't into cars were watching Top Gear,
Exactly.
and they were just loving it. And then it went massive. Probably late 2000s, early 2010s, it went like
Bonkers.
stratospheric when they were doing
Yeah.
all that. Like it was
All the
every
specials
family
and
would
everything.
tune in.
Oh, yeah.
Every Tuesday night I think it was.
Something like a Tuesday or a Thursday or something.
Tuesday night, I think it was.
Yeah.
Every Tuesday night, every family around Australia was
It was
virtually
amazing.
watching it.
And I love that they drifted everything as well. Because,
Yep.
again, I was involved with competitive drifting at that time. And we were just, what are you fucking going sideways for? That's so dumb. And because it just wasn't a thing in Australia. And then they would drift every car.
Yep.
And I'm like, do you know why it's awesome? See what those boys do? That is sick.
Yeah.
It might not be the most efficient way round a corner, but hot damn, it's the best looking way.
It's cool. I tell you what, I'll be the optimist, and we might be pleasantly surprised by
I'm
Joe
hopeful.
and Bo.
Yeah.
You know, they could be secret closet car guys.
Absolutely.
You
And
know-
look, full
you know.
support. Wheelhouse is here for Top Gear. We believe because we want to believe.
100%. Because if it takes off,
Oh,
it benefits.
it's good for everyone.
The car
Benefits
community.
everyone. Look,
Yeah.
they should come on the Wheelhouse.
They
and
should.
Come
They
on
should
All
come
Red
and
Everything
talk with
and come to a
us.
podcast and get all 7 watchers, all 7 listeners.
Imagine that.
That will make the difference.
That'd be a great show.
Don't you think they need to change the formula though? Like the formula's been the same, the dead horse that they've been trying to flog for a while. Like I think something new and different, like exactly what Rory said, to adapt to today's car culture and not like the same formula from.
Well, the crazy thing is that's correct. They need to change the formula by going back to the original formula. Like, I don't understand how the first one, everyone knows the first one worked, and then they have seemingly ignored how that worked the entire time. It's like they forgot that Jeremy, Richard, and James were not always celebrities. Like, they were just like, oh, yeah, but they're famous as. That's why it works. No, actually, no one knew who the fuck they were.
Yeah. And they made a
Way back in
great
the
show.
day.
And they made a
But
very
that's
good
what it
show.
was. They made a great show. And people watched it and they're like, fuck yeah.
And now they're thinking like we need to bring the celebrities in so people watch.
Correct.
I was like, that's the wrong way. That's not how it works.
No.
But they were also allowed to make a great show. They were allowed to do the things that you like the media people and all the focus groups and all that don't let them do nowadays. So
That is a big
Oh shit.
accurate comment because I actually remember hearing discussions about the way that it was shot and how they basically let the camera team just do whatever dumb shit they could come up with. Whereas now that's the standard. Everyone's doing their crazy cuts and fantastic things. But they were doing that back before.
yeah, they were the first ones to do it. Like it was,
You couldn't buy a Steadicam like you can today, just quietly, people.
yeah,
So-
you know, it
Well, I
was.
think what Gibbo, are you referencing that potentially the Australian government might not want them driving?
Yes,
Is that what you're leaning in on? Because
that
I
could-
didn't even think of that. That's
that
very
could be
true.
part of it too. Because I remember when the 86 first came out and they were doing TV advertisements for it, and they had that car drifting around on the street initially, and then the Australian government stepped in and were like, "No, you can't show advertisements with the car driving dangerously." And same thing when that Ford Focus RS came out, they had the burnout mode on it.
Drift mode, yeah.
Drift mode, sorry. Actually, no, Mustang had burnout mode.
Mustang had a line lock feature.
Yeah, and they had advertisements for that, and they had to pull them and disable the feature because the Australian government was like, "No, you can't show dangerous driving on the street."
Yeah, well, they tried to get the Focus R because I had a Mark III Focus RS. When it was coming out, they tried to get. So the Mustang came first, 2016. The new Mustang landed in Australia. Ford were like, okay, we're gonna have to delete the line lock feature. The Focus RS came. They said you got to do the same thing for the drift mode, and they were allowed to keep it because it wasn't a mass-produced car. Because they're like, we're not going to be selling that many. There's only going to be, I think there was only 1,500 came to Australia. So they were allowed to keep it. But the Mustang, the line lock feature, which is a feature you push, and essentially a line lock is it holds the brakes and allows you to do a burnout without having to try and do the burnout yourself. You just accelerate. Australia made us ban that. But there's heaps of references to that. Hoonigan, when they tried to come here and film Ken Block, Australia were like, you're not coming here. Now Ken Block's passed away and we have like no Australian
Version of it.
Jim Carner.
Yep.
And it's like, well, that would have been fucking great if we actually did have that. That would have been fantastic because he's now passed away and we didn't have that because some government thought that it would. Oh, they're called hoonigans, so clearly you're trying to encourage hooning. You know, fucking shit. Who cares? You know what I mean? What do you?
Can we reference your Canberra event to anytime somebody says we can't do it? Like, have you been to Canberra?
Yeah, Canberra's literally leaning on hooning to keep them afloat at this point on a yearly basis with the income that Summer Nats brings in.
Yeah, that now tax dollars. what I'm really enjoying here, because Rory and I have been talking about segments as well. This is something we've been collectively discussing. I feel like that we've just gotten through the news. This feels like the updates because Jas got an 840. We're irritated about things. We're excited about things.
We are. Drive to Survive just started.
Oh, Drive to Survive just started. Do you know, I haven't watched any of it yet because all I've been trying to do is make my V12 start because I was actually trying to get it to your meet yesterday because Rory has run yet another magnificent Altered International.
Oh,
And we got some cool cars out. So speaking of news, give us some news, Rory.
Yeah, it'd be a quick little wrap up on that. So I ran another one of my North Shore Cars and Coffees yesterday. So this podcast has fallen very timely. Was a worrisome one. The weather here has been reminiscent of the UK, of a UK correspondent who's brought the weather.
Is that your fault, buddy?
So the weather's just been raining on and off, and it looked like it was going to storm, and then I wasn't sure if it was going to. I just decided to go ahead with it, and then it started raining midway through the event, but it seemed to not really dampen people too badly. It was actually a pretty massive turnout, probably 500.
That was
500-ish, 550-ish cars, which was huge.
Pumping.
Wow.
And had some really special stuff come out amidst the rain, which was a very big surprise. Had a Ruby Star 992 GT3 Touring come, which was Ruby Star is the for those who don't know, it's called Ruby Star Red, but it's actually more of a pink. It's a very famous Porsche color, which was awesome. And then it just so happened that Jonathan Webb, who ex-V8 supercar race driver, owns Techno Bespoke now, but was Techno Motorsport, just off racing in the Bathurst 12 hour, rocked up in a Ruby Star Red G81 BMW Touring.
Rory, I saw some photos from the event, from 12,000 kilometers away, and that was my pick. It was M3. Oh my god!
How gangster was that?
A wrap?
Pardon?
Is that a wrap?
Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Is it? Yeah, because that looked amazing. I was standing there as it drove in, and I saw the little Techno on the side, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, props to Jono coming out. He's an absolute legend. That car was really, really, really cool. That was probably one of the standouts of the event. Had a few other pretty awesome cars. There was a 997.2 GT3 Club Sport that rocked up, as parked alongside a 997.2 GT3 RS. So it had both of them. And that was really cool. Because that's probably one of my all-time favorite Porsches. But had a mate brought his Tirana out, the orange Tirana. Go through a few different cars, LSX, twin turbo. There was a black R32 that came. I don't know if you guys saw that one.
I think so.
32 LRB. It was raining when he rocked up. It had Mickey Thompson drag radials on the back, skinnies on the front, like front runners. Push bike wheels almost on the front.
Big boy tires.
Sequential. That was really cool to see in the rain. So it was a really good event. And it's good to see people not put off by the weather.
Yeah, just turn up.
Because that's probably
Which I thought
something
was great.
that Jas would notice over in the UK is that the weather doesn't usually overly dampen car events because everyone's used to it.
Always shit over here.
Yeah, it's always shit.
Whereas in Australia, as soon as there's even people are like, oh, it could rain,
Dark
it's
cloud.
30%. It's the events usually suck.
It's over. Yep.
Gibbo's involved events. You can attest to that 100%.
We've had it.
I've been to 2 car events recently. So one run by Tyler Hood. They get a few things together at Slow is his meet at coffee shops and stuff.
Yep.
And everyone turned up in bucketing rain.
Yep.
And all unreliable old cars, old BMWs, just old shit boxes that were going to flood. Everyone turned up.
The type of cars that you A, don't care that it rains, but B, probably do care that it rains because water's going to get somewhere
super
electrical
irritating.
and it won't start in the car park.
But everybody turned up, and then your meet on Saturday, Ben Nothing actually rolled with us, and I convinced my old boy to bring his V12 E-Type out. Mm-hmm. And Ben was like, oh, God, you're not going to take it out in the rain? I'm like, no, mate, just send it. Like, it's a car.
Yeah.
I was actually really surprised at the quantity of cars you had there.
Yeah.
For how suspect the weather was looking.
So
you had
was
a
I.
really good
Because I was getting, before the event, because I'm always there really early, I was getting a heap of messages of people just screenshotting the bomb and sending it to me. And
As if you've not
and
looked at it before.
Yeah, as if they're like, have you seen
Luckily,
this? I was
I
like,
haven't been watching the weather, given that I'm running an outdoor
yeah.
event.
I wasn't waking up every 2 hours checking.
Haven't
and
looked at it once.
Every screen, the funny part was every screen, well, not every, but majority of the screenshots sent to me was just a screenshot of the bomb at like 500 zoom, like zoomed out. And I was like, yeah, of course the storm looks like it's over the whole of Brisbane. You're looking from the fucking space station. Zoom in and you can see that it's not on the event. It's out at Boona.
Go. It was pretty sweet at North Shore,
Yeah.
and it's such a nice event too. You've nailed the location.
It's a good
It's
spot.
smooth in and out. We don't
Yep.
affect any other traffic. There's no because it's sort of isolated in where it goes.
Yep.
Traffic in and out's no problem.
Yeah.
Like there's just no grief around it.
I like this location better than the old, even though the old one's only next door. I
Yeah.
like this one better
Yeah.
than the
It's
other
a
one.
100%.
great spot.
It's a really good spot.
It is a great spot, and it's spacious. There's room.
Yep.
Everything about
Doesn't
it.
feel the old one felt very congested.
Yeah.
Hugely
I
congested.
want to know if there was any stories, any dramas.
Any
on this
dramas?
one.
There potentially maybe. So there was
no.
everyone was pretty behaved. There was a few people who did a couple of little.
Mate, there was some tart in front of me that tried to do a little chirpy in his Arbath piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what a fucking clown. Like,
Yeah.
not only are we not impressed, but you're a fuckwit.
Yeah,
I
so
couldn't
there was a
believe it.
few people who did a couple of things like that. There was a GDR that did a little bit of a launch. There was a few like small skids,
Did
but
sound good, though.
nothing. Yeah, it did sound really good. That's annoying, but
We
there was
don't say
nothing
that.
like overly bad. Like nothing. I don't even think the police would have even been upset. They wouldn't have. They would have been like, "Oh, that was fine." No massive
Yeah,
skids.
it
or
could have
anything.
been accidental.
But the problem I now have is, I think you guys may remember on the last podcast when I was talking about it, I said that the
Tell
venue
us.
had an issue with some people standing on the sides of the road. And they
the
said
TikTok kids.
you need
Yeah,
to
the
you
TikTok
need to move
kids.
them on.
And there were a lot
And we did that this time, and we couldn't move them on. There was so many people.
that you couldn't move.
They were down the whole road.
Well, they were everywhere, but and they were doing
They
the,
were a long way down.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
So they're not at the when you first exit. There was only a couple,
Hmm.
and it's once you go down the hill, then it's just like lines of people.
Yeah,
I probably
I-
shouldn't even be saying this because I don't know if North Shore know about it, but they're not going to listen to podcasts.
Oh,
Because I saw them as I drove in. I was like, are these guys lost? Do they not
Yeah.
know where the meet is? Like it's 400 meters that way.
Mm.
Like you're down here at an intersection. You're at the wrong spot.
yeah, you're in the wrong place.
This isn't where the meet is anymore. It's at the next car
And there
park.
were-
That's where they go now.
Yeah.
So the problem is that if North Shore do, who I hire the venue off, who are great, they're awesome to deal with, but if they do have an issue with that, and my answer is going to have to be, there's nothing I can do.
No.
Like there's no amount of manpower because we were moving them on and they would just move on from where we told them and go to like the next section down the road. And one of the boys who was in my car was just following them, like just like going like 10 kilometers an hour while they were walking. And he's like, I'm just going to keep following. And they just said to him, we're just going to keep walking. It's public.
and
property.
all we can do
That's
is
a good point too. Is
yeah.
they are on they're not at your event. They're on
No.
public property, half a
The
kilometer.
good
down
thing
the road.
is if North Shore, if they don't know that it happened and no one ever called in, then it'll be fine. And if they
nobody
did,
told North Shore.
they'll notice. They'll be like, yeah, there was people on the side of the road, but like no one was hooning.
No one was hooning, and that's my favourite part. They were doing the old, light it up to me, and so I'm driving past at like 6 kilometres an hour because all we have to do is keep teaching people that it's just not acceptable.
Yep.
And we will throw you under the bus. We will send your photo to the police,
Yep.
and you're no longer welcome.
Yeah, it's a time and a place.
And that's not it.
The
and we
thing I've
don't
always
support it.
said is like, don't skid to leave a car
No,
meet
don't be a
because
fucking
you do
idiot.
the skid and you leave. You're like, that was
Yeah.
sick, and then the cops come to the meet.
And-
You're not at the meet
No.
anymore, but everyone else you've just done it. Like the cops, like, well, everyone's doing skids. Then
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
else is cool.
You're spoiling it
Yep,
for everyone
you've
else.
ruined it, and you're a fuckwit.
Yeah.
If you do a skid leaving a meet, you are a fuckwit.
Yeah.
And we'll find stickers.
We-
We're going to put some fuckwit stickers
Yeah.
on it. I actually have a big stash of no fuckwit stickers.
Yeah.
We need
and,
them.
And what I'll do is I'll slap it on the back of your car.
Yep. Tell you what, we deal with this every day or every event that
Yeah.
we run for Downshift.
Yep.
Every event. Beanley, Carrara, Caboolture. Caboolture's actually not too bad,
No,
surprisingly.
they're actually well behaved.
They're a little bit better behaved, yeah. But the Beanley guys, the people we get come to those, not all of them, but there's a larger percentage of people doing it from Beanley. and
However-
it drives us up the wall.
Credit to the people that came the night that we got flooded and my tent got ripped to pieces.
All 8 of them.
I watched the people leaving that night, and not one person did a chirp on the grass. And I must say, on
Yeah.
a saturated oval, I'd find it very hard
that's something that's taken us a while to get through people's heads. Don't do it on the grass.
Because if you
Don't
rip
tear
up
up that oval.
Yeah, if it's a lawn,
Because
we have to
go back the next day with sand, and go and
fix it.
fill and fix it.
Oh, wow.
It sucks. It's so painful.
And
We've had to do that a few times.
Mr.
now.
Nothling said, rule number 1, don't be a dick.
Yeah,
Yep.
don't be a dick.
So yeah, it's a way we got to figure out how. I don't know how to do it. I'm
Yeah,
at
so
this point.
if anyone's got any ideas, jump in and tell us.
because it's like I'd love to get
Electric cattle prods.
I'd love to get cops there, but I don't. I need it. I need an in. Like I need to get cops there who are cool because I don't want to invite the police
And then have them lock you in and
I start. If
Defect
anyone, if
everything.
I invite
again.
police and people get defected,
it's all
cops
over.
are
It's the
cops,
last meet.
and cops will tell people.
Yeah.
Like it's happened to us before. We were talking about it after the event. Gibbo and I were talking about it. It happened back when I was involved with Downshift. It happened. The cops were invited after a discussion was had where we shouldn't invite them. A member of Downshift decided that he should invite them, and he did, and it went smoothly at first. And then we realised that they'd actually, in fact, set up a sting operation and set up 3 defect stations
On both ways as you were leaving.
and one at the back.
Yep.
We
remember
couldn't
that.
we couldn't hold the venue for like I tried to call the venue owner and say, hey, can we book the venue for another day? And he said, I've got horse races or dog racing or something tomorrow,
something next
and you
day.
can't have it. So we couldn't just lock cars in the venue, and people were getting defected. And when they were getting defected, they were like, I don't understand. Like people were saying to the cops something along the lines of, not verbatim, but I don't understand why you guys show up here. We're trying to do the right thing. And cops were saying to people, Downshift invited us. And I was like, why the fuck would you say that? Because then those people are like, oh, and I was saying to Gibbo, there was the only time I've ever deleted my social media in my entire time of having it is for 2 weeks. I had to delete my social media then because I was getting like severe death threats, and there was a large contingent of people who firmly believed that I was getting
You were
kickbacks
involved.
from the police for inviting them, and I was getting a kickback from every defect. I was like, there is no way. Like, how do you think that works? Like
how important do you think I am?
Yeah.
like that would be sick. I'd be so rich,
That's
but
Bob
that's
Flex.
not what happened. I still drove a Golf. Like, you know what I mean?
And,
So-
and I think
Yep.
that's the worst part is we're not trying to get people in trouble. We're actually trying to encourage people.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, like we have a good relationship going on that about getting cops there for the right reason. We have a good relationship with the Gold Coast Police, and we invite with Downshift. We've invited them there a couple of times, and it's great because they'll put a squad car on the exit with the lights going. People who are going to come out and leave, they see that and they're like, "Oh shit, cop car there! I better leave."
That's exactly
and
what
and
we
that's
need.
that's exactly what you need. Whereas that other part of it, of they've invited us, they obviously want us to set up defect stations on the exit of their car meet.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, horrible.
that's
And
yeah.
that's like a PR suicide.
Yeah.
Because if you get defected at a car event,
it doesn't get much worse than that because that really burns.
If you get defected, it's one thing, but if the cops then turn around and go, "Yeah, but they invited us,"
yeah,
like that's just like, well, I'm never going to that car meet
yeah,
again.
he's
Kind of
involved.
thing.
So yeah, just trying to. It would be ideal to get that. I've got a few avenues that I can chase for it, but that's the ideal way to do it. And just to stop people, like, I have a short fuse at the best of times. So when I see kids
Really?
who are like there was a few moments where we saw kids being like, yeah, get
Yeah.
up it. And I just turned to him and I was literally just looked at this kid dead in the eyes. And I was like, there was a few boys there and I looked at him in the eyes. I was like, it's funny. You think it's funny, but you are acting like you won't get belted for something when you're getting really close to getting belted. And he just looked at me and he was like, but this is public property. And one of the other boys said, yeah, so that means that you're not on private property, which means that I can walk over there.
That's right. You're fucking around and you're
Yeah.
about to find out.
yeah, and you don't want to find out.
And it's,
because-
it's all
we're
kids.
bigger than you.
It's all kids.
and it's not. This is the thing is, it's very difficult for us to get it through because they're just trying to get likes and subscribes like the rest of us.
They've got to
and
get
look,
the clout.
Don't get me wrong. I fucking love a good skid.
We all
100%.
do.
Time and a place.
In the
Yeah.
exactly.
Time and
Time
a
and
place.
place. Go to an industrial estate after hours.
Go to
Yeah.
the what are the good people? The skid people.
Skid control.
Skid Control.
Yep.
The good people at Skid Control will provide you multitude of opportunities to go skidding.
Well, I think I've told you about it. My mate Lockie, who runs drift events, he used to run Grip Attack, and now he runs drift events at QR. And like he's
Beautiful.
putting them on all the time, and they're always booked out.
Yeah.
Like, go do those events. That's a purpose spot, tailor-made event for you to go and do as many skids as you want. and be encouraged to do them.
That's why we have the best drifting in the country.
That's right.
Mate, Southeast Queensland, the drift state.
But see, this is where I float a fine line because I wholeheartedly encourage streeting, but it's a time not outside of a car meet.
Yeah.
Because to me,
And only in Mexico. We fly,
Correct.
the cars get flown there, and it's in...
Mexico. Because
It's
to me,
amazing
the car,
how fast those flights are,
Mate,
aren't they?
so quick. Air freight is surprisingly economical.
And
when you-
cheap.
Yeah.
Only costs a tank of fuel to get to Mexico.
Unbelievable. We'll have to air freight your 840 over here when you're not looking, Jas.
on the
So
same Mexican Airlines.
if it goes missing, that was us.
But to me, like the modified car scene was built on illegal activity. It
Yeah.
was built. That's in the 50s. That's what it was. And so I was like, we can't get rid of that, but just don't be a idiot about it. Like, don't do it outside of a car meet. Don't do it in populated areas. Like, do it late at night.
Highway on ramp.
In Mexico.
Yeah. Highway on ramp, industrial areas.
In Mexico.
You know, in Mexico, places with.
And you know the funny part is, if you do get caught doing dumb stuff in a car and it's very late at night, there's no one around, or you're on the highway or wherever you are, and a cop gets you, you will be very surprised at how much more pliable they are and understandable. Obviously, some will be very bad. If it's a highway patrol or a bike, they'll be really bad. But if they're
Fatal Five
not,
or someone.
they'll usually be like, yeah, look, don't do this. But they're kind of a bit more understanding because you've clearly gone out of your way to not be a nuisance.
Yeah, you're not doing it in the suburbs. You're not doing it in the middle of the city or something like, you know, they're not going to throw the book at you.
Yep.
They might throw a page of
and
that book.
I've had cops say that to me, to be like, when we come across situations like this, it's you know what I mean? We can do you, and we'll give you some fines, but you go on your way. Whereas if you're doing it at 9 a.m. in Hamilton North Shore,
Your
and you're
car
trying to
will
do
be
a skid,
crushed into a cube.
like you deserve to have your car crushed at that point.
Yeah, you're just being a dickhead.
Yeah.
You have 30 minutes to move. your
Don't be
cube.
dumb. As Al would say, use your brain.
Use your brain.
Be smart
See,
when you do it.
Love that.
But apart from that, that's the
So that's our...
that's news.
Mate, that's news. And
That's
that was
the
some good
news.
ranting there. That, I mean, we really got into what grinds our gears.
Yeah.
Where are we going next? I'm just going to throw that.
Well, have you?
'Cause I don't
worked
know
out-
where to go.
Have
There's
you worked
so
out this
much.
screen share for
Well,
Mr. UK?
that's
Well,
kind of it.
I can
Yeah,
do
it's
some.
working.
No, is it
I'm
like
gonna-
he
I'm
wants
gonna-
to?
Yeah, probably. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I allowed it.
Let me see.
Can you
Let me see if
share
it
stuff?
works.
Yeah, just try
Let
it.
me see if
Like-
it works.
Hey, it's working.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, this is amazing.
So, Exhibit A.
Exhibit
So this
A.
has been on the radar on the
Oh,
Facebook
mate.
market.
It's
right?
the clown
Now,
shoe.
I love it.
here's something that I didn't know, and you guys may have, but I thought they only made this in an M model, but in Europe, they made this in the non-M model.
I did not know that. I only thought it had.
But that's an M, isn't it? I can see it on the door sill.
It's got the kit on it,
M kit.
and
okay.
even if I go to the
Yeah.
let me just see if I
Import.
can share
Nice
the
wheel.
next. So share the next photo.
Just
So
make
this is the rear of it.
Ooh.
Oh, it's fat.
But quad pipes, it's not an M.
Yeah. So he's put the kit on it. He's put the
Okay.
yeah, the whole.
So he's got the
trickery on it.
poverty spec, and then he's
Up badge.
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Good on him.
So
It's cool, but it'd be slow, and now I'm sad.
What engine does it? I didn't realize it did that either. What engine does it have?
So apparently it didn't come to the UK. This has been converted to a right-hand drive from a left-hand drive.
Wow.
And it's a 2.5. It's like a 325 or a, what would you call it? A M 25 or whatever the engine would be.
Well,
Because I've never seen it before.
M52 is what's in mine, being
Yeah.
the 328, so it's not the good motor.
No, it'd be M50.
Yeah.
Someone really loves that car to put that much effort into
Yeah.
a non-M model to do that.
Because is it correct? Did these come? The Australian ones, we didn't get the S54, right?
I thought
No,
the clown
the-
shoe?
The clown
No,
shoe was
we
just an
didn't.
M that I thought.
So the Clown Shoe M's you could get one with an S52, which is an E36 motor, and an S54. I don't think we got the 54s, so this would be probably a M50, I'd say.
Yeah, so this is a non-M car, and it's a European delivery car that somebody in the UK has brought over, and it's on the marketplace for £16,000.
Bargain.
That's £15,000 too much.
£16,000. So what's that? What, 30 grand?
That's
Yeah,
a
30
fair
grand.
pounding for your fake clown shoe. All right, next.
Yeah.
Boo. Boo.
Right.
This gets 1 out
So
of 10.
that's what we got there. The next car that I'm going to bring you to your attention
Yes, please.
is one that I've absolutely been like looking over and over and over for, a Gen 1 R8 V8 manual.
You keep sending these to me, and I keep getting very jealous because I want the driveline
I
out
like
of
an
one.
R8. And do you know what I'd like as much as an R8, Gibbo? I'd love a slice of pizza.
I can give you a water bottle and a slice of
Oh, hang
pizza.
on. You give
mate.
me water. I thought you were offering me a beer or a rum.
So start throwing some numbers at me, guys. What do you
not want
think?
that water?
Something
I'll have it.
All right. So
Would you-
V8, R8, manual.
manual.
So in Australia, they're what,
100 grand.
180 to 200
Oh, hang on.
for a manual?
V8, not
Oh.
V10, manual. So
Yeah, what are they
I've
in
seen them
Australia?
130,
Let me
130
bring it
ish.
up.
Let's calm down a little. Okay, so like 130 to 150, let's say. So in the
Yep.
UK, I don't know, probably, if we're going to say it in pounds,
Yeah, I reckon it's 25 pounds.
I reckon
25,000.
40,000 pounds.
No, Rory's right. They're 190 grand here in Australia.
What are the Povo
200
ones that you can
grand.
get cheap?
150.
No, it'd be the e-gear, like non-manual.
Non-manual.
Yeah.
'cause
DSG.
So
yeah, there's heaps of the Povo
this one,
ones.
it's high kilometer car, 100,000 miles, full service history, 100,000 miles, 28,000 pounds.
Jesus.
That is so ridiculous. So that's like 50 grand.
I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah.
I was very close.
You said 25.
You were
Sorry,
actually
how much
spot
did you say, Rory?
I said 40,000 pounds.
Sorry, I mean, Jas. What did you say? it was, Jas?
28,000.
28,000.
28,000 pounds.
So that'll be 50 grand, give or take. 52.
Yeah,
And what they're
yeah.
180. We just looked here in Australia.
Yeah, I've seen them as low as 130 ish in Australia.
That's still ridiculous. 130 is
It's
still
still-
almost
When
one
you think
third
of it,
the
rear
price.
engine, manual, V8.
50, so 54 grand converted.
Yeah, exactly. Mental, and you can probably understand why I'm on the cars on the Facebook.
This
so
is really
much.
bad because I actually know, because obviously Jas and I talk all the time, I actually know what the market for 996 turbos is in the UK, and it's one of the most depressing things I've ever seen.
Makes baby Jesus.
That's right.
Because a manual 996 turbo in Australia is going to be 140, 150.
Yep.
Around about that. And what are they?
Yep.
What's this
So-
one?
I've
Must be
found a
25 grand as
non-manual for sale. It's a 2002 Tiptronic. In this, I liked it because of the color, because it wasn't a silver or a black or I guess it's a nice color. It's got a grey interior, Tiptronic. This in the UK are not selling. They're struggling to sell. This one's advertised for £25,000, which is under $50,000.
Just quietly, mate. My years of work on the trading post, I really
48 grand.
Yep.
So 25,000 pounds. That's 48. That's a $48,000 car.
amazing.
Yeah.
How much is shipping again? 20 grand for a shipping container?
That same car here, Jas. So a 911,
150.
2002, 996
Yep.
coupe
Yep.
auto is $136,000,
There you
and
go.
you're able to get one for 48.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Your bank balance must be hating
shipping-
you right now.
That's so
I'm looking-
wild. It's like it's virtually $100 grand difference.
Yeah.
That blows my
Like-
mind.
And it's also a way better, like that color. Like all the ones we have for sale are black and
Well,
silver.
that's it, boys. We now have the Wheelhouse UK imports.
We're all moving to the UK.
And what we're going to do is we're going to send Jas shopping and we're just going to buy things and then sell them at a profit.
Yeah, send us money and we'll give you.
You
cars.
send us money
Profile.
on consignment. We'll only
Yeah.
charge a small commission, and we'll also feature your car on the show and make you e-famous.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want a car from the UK,
Yeah,
just,
mate, we've got Jas on it, mate. If you want a car, we will actually figure out how to make this happen.
It's actually a thing. We've had a mate of Jas and I. He was looking at a 911, like a hot rod 911, a modified old gen. And Jas went and looked at it for him.
Yeah, that's what we need, mate. Our foreign correspondent.
Yeah, I went there, did a video chat, and fortunately we couldn't get to the price we wanted to, but it hasn't sold, so it still could be an option. But you've seen on your screen now, we've got a beautiful. I sound like a proper used car.
B-E-A beautiful.
M3, right? Like these are they've really seen an up and down price in Australia. I would say an entry level, cheap SMG coupe like this in Australia
I
would
love
cost you
them.
40.
Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Yeah, I was going to say
before about 40 grand in Australia.
Yeah, I've seen 50 for a good
grand.
one.
Yep. Manuals are about 60 to 80.
Yep, exactly.
So this will be about $1.50. I reckon this will be $17,000.
I reckon that's pretty. Yeah, I'm saying 18.
Oh,
Pounds,
maybe
you
even
mean?
lower.
Pounds
12. I'll change it. Let's go. How much?
Okay, so what are the so you got 12 from Scott,
Yeah,
Rory.
I said 18.
Okay.
15.
This is advertised at 2004, so a late model. It's £9,250.
Holy fuck.
£9,000.
So 20 grand.
What? The
Yes,
What
that's like
the fuckity
17,
fuck,
16
fuck.
grand.
£9,000. It's SMG, right?
SMG.
That's
Still,
amazing.
I mean, you know,
All right, so we're going 4 ways in Wheelhouse imports.
£9,000.
What the fuck?
100,000 miles, 160,000 Ks, which is not a lot in these cars.
No, there's
The
ones for
2.8
sale for 35
This is how
plus
we're gonna
grand
do
with
it.
200,000
This
Ks.
is how we're going to do it, boys. This is how we're going to make all our money, is we are just going to get Jas's U beauties and just ship them to Australia. This is amazing.
Perfect. I'm all for that. I need the drive lines.
We've got to keep doing this for 5 years. By
Yeah.
the time, what's that, 5 years from now, 2004 cars importable.
Oh, so do you know what you could start with for me is some max power vehicles? If you can find some real shit boxes, if you can find any of the ones that are done, the little things with huge subwoofers.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, stop it.
Lovely.
Oh, the monoblocks.
pre-merger AMG. It's
what year
you know,
is
it was-
that?
you could buy this from Mercedes because they did have the arrangement, the agreement then. But it's a 99, so that was the year of the merger, 99. It's a C43 AMG, which it's a proper AMG, not like the current C48 3 AMG, which is just a badged car. This was an original, the second ever AMG after the C36 they made when they were joined. So 99 model. Jason Camisa says it's his favorite car he's ever owned. So it's a 4.3 litre V8, about 220 kilowatts. Just a classic, the classic Mercedes.
£8,000.
In Australia, they're selling for around about £40,000.
If the M3 was 9,000, this could potentially be £7,000.
You are very close. £6,800.
Oh, what the fuck?
That is
What
fucking
the
stupid.
fuck? That is, and look how mint it is.
How many cases? How many cases it have?
Let's have a look.
What
Let's have a
the
look. So I actually don't have that in front of me. Where are we? Well, I mean, most cars here have,
Makes me
they are
frustrated
high kilometer
in
cars.
ways I can't
This
understand.
one has 120,000 miles, so that would be what, 200, under 200,000
It's
K?
not even. It's
26.
1999 model. It's
Yeah, that's about right.
yeah.
Everything from the 90s.
It's what? It's
has
25
twosies.
years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Oh, imagine Scott's garage if he lived in the
Oh,
UK.
could you imagine? I would have 70 billion cars. I'd be
Yeah.
like, who's the sheikh who built the pyramid to store all his cars out in the desert?
Yeah, the Sultan.
Yeah, the Sultan. There you
Brunei.
go.
Yeah,
Sultan of Brunei. Is that his?
with the pyramid.
Yeah. Is that his?
That's the Sultan of Brunei's got the pyramid, doesn't he, Jazz?
No, I don't know about a pyramid, but I know he's got lots of car parks. I haven't
I've
seen
been to
the
that pyramid in the desert.
Oh, true. No, what might not have been Sultan of Brunei then.
It won't be Brunei because Brunei's.
No, we're at racing at Yas
Borneo.
Marina.
Oh, okay, yeah, it'll be. Oh, yeah, it's
And
the
it's out in the desert there.
yeah, it's the
With the rainbow car collection and stuff in the pyramid.
I think it's Mohammed Zayed, the
yeah.
one who's
Zayed. That'll
yeah,
be the one.
it's
Yep.
the road's named after him.
Is that the
That's
same
one.
guy that has the large versions of things?
Yeah, he's got the real big truck.
It's got the big Hummer and the big power wagon.
He's got that
and-
big power. It's massive. Yeah, it's like
It's an apartment block that
Yeah.
moves basically.
Oh, now we have.
this is the interior of the C43.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
stop
Just
it.
on the on our new importing business, Chris Campbell says, which again any car person will be aware, the rust, the underbody rust from the salt on the roads. Because my brother actually had a WRX. He had an 04, so the one of the good looking WRXs from the UK, and the underside of it was
Would have been trashed.
it was not good.
Yeah.
It is
So
definitely an
that's-
issue, but it's very easy to inspect it.
And I've got to be honest with you, having owned 1980s Alfa Romeos, Land Cruisers, mate, I'm not afraid of rust.
Yeah, and to be honest, if the underside has got some rust and you're paying £6,000
mate,
for a C43, I'll probably deal with it.
I'll cry myself to sleep. I'll just take it to the 4-wheel drive places, that, and they'll do
doesn't-
an underbody on it. underbody replacement.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost
Well,
much to
16
learn how to
grand.
weld.
16 grand for an E46 M3.
And mate, I'm buying rattle cans of Dulux for $20. Yeah, we'll just get up into there. No, we'll be fine.
Bit of putty.
Okay,
Oh,
what
no,
do
no,
you
no.
got?
it's the greatest engine of all time.
Is that S62?
You can make anything road legal
It
with
is
body filler.
the
S62.
5
so-
litre
Yep.
V8 M5, right? So
Oh,
this
no,
car,
This is my car, isn't it?
this is a great example.
Is this
And
my
as
car?
I
This will be
go-
£2,000, £2,000.
No, well, this
Pay
one
you
is
to take it away.
God
No, I reckon I'm going to say
damn it.
15.
Fuck. This
Thousand.
is
This
my
one-
car.
Those wheels.
Yeah,
now, when I show you what the work has been done to this car, you'll probably go, hang on a second, it's probably
holy
Full resto.
this is a full resto job.
wow.
Wow.
Jess, I'm gonna cry. How
And-
oh god, I just need to know how much.
And then I'll just one more photo I'll share with you.
Why can't we have nice things like that?
Because we don't have this many. Oh,
So, look, he's got the he's upgraded the brakes on it.
Yeah,
you know,
he's
it's
got
a
the big boy
really
stuff on
great
it.
car.
that is an
um,
incredible
Is
car.
that Le Mans blue?
And the wheels with the shadow chrome as well. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what blue that is, Rory. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell if it was like an Orient or a Le Mans. I'm not sure what that is, but it's done, 140,000 miles, so it is a high mileage car, but fully resto as you can see, and it's up for £20,000. I thought was an
So
absolute
that
bargain.
is that sort of money is what an M5 in 2009 in Australia would have changed
Yeah.
hands for.
Right now, the majority of E39 M5s for
They'd be
sale in
tapping
Australia,
100, wouldn't
they
they?
all have big case. There's
Yeah.
very few with low case.
Because if you've driven one, they're the fucking greatest car you've ever driven in your whole life.
Correct. But they're all 60 plus, 70 plus even. For a good one like that, you'd be paying 70K plus.
Oh, for something that's had that much work done, I haven't seen one with that much work done.
And
in
this one,
Australia.
that one's 40 grand. 30, probably 36
I'm
grand.
going to vomit. I wanted it to be 6 grand.
38 grand.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
disgusting.
exactly, 38 grand. Which
Well,
is,
you know what? You know, that E39 M5 in that blue, you know what that would look sick next to? An Orient Blue 840.
I was going to
It
say
would.
it. I was going to say it'd look sick next to my E36 convertible.
It looks sick next to
Yeah,
any car
yeah.
that I own.
So
Actually, it'd look good next to my Falcon. Then I could have my dueling 4 doors.
the final car I'm going to show you is, remember the story I said when I went to buy the 840, I actually stopped by. It was a stop by after looking at a Daytona Violet, a Daytona Violet E36 M3. And I put a $250 deposit down on it. And I asked them to do a check at a local BMW specialist. And that took 2 weeks for them to do. And the guy was being really evasive. Like he wouldn't, he was trying to not giving me answers. The guy from the thing, he goes, "Oh yeah, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you." The thing, when he sent me the photos after 2 weeks, I'm going to share them now to you.
My word.
Holy fuck.
Was
Titanic has less
buckle up.
rust on it than that.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, literally. I've seen stuff under the ocean that looks better than that.
Mate, it gets better.
I have holes smaller than that in the floor of my Hilux.
Yeah, I was going to say my Land Cruiser's rusty, but not that bad.
Jesus.
So this is what they meant by salt on the roads.
Oh,
Eh?
mate.
Yeah.
But
So
this isn't just
what I-
salt. Like, they must have been bathing it. They must have been dry aging the car in fucking salt. Wow.
I bet that just tastes delicious.
that's never
though.
been washed.
That is delicious looking steak there.
Oh, that's stressful.
And this is the last photo. So
That looks like the inside of toilet piping.
What did the owner say?
Yeah.
well, it was a dealer. So
What? Oh,
the funny thing is, it was a dealer car, and the dealers here are known to be a little bit dodgy, right? So I'm not saying this guy was, but it could have been. And he goes to me. I called him up and I said, "Oh, listen, I've just had the photos come through from the inspection," and he goes, "Oh yeah, we've decided we're not going to sell you that car."
Good idea.
Yeah, oh, you
And,
decided that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, thank you for telling me that you're
Thank you
not
for
going to
doing
sell
me the
me
favour.
a car.
Or you
And,
should have replied to him and been like, "Oh, what? I wanted to buy it."
Thought it looked great.
Yeah.
Thought it
Well,
looked great.
I'll send that one back to Australia.
Jeez, if that's not a dodgy one, I'd hate to see what a dodgy one's like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So Megaphone said
think-
that's not far off Flintstoning. And
Yeah.
I've got to agree,
Yeah.
that is yabba dabba doo.
Whoever said in the group chat that you got to be careful of rust. That's one thing that I've realized over here. So the further north you go, they say that you don't buy cars from further north.
Yeah,
Scotland,
right.
that
By south. Can we send
They
you to
stay
Portugal? I wonder if there's some bangers here and there. We'll send you somewhere where it's a bit drier and less salty.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the weekly wrap up from the.
The weekly wrap up from the
make this a
UK.
series. We're going to make this a series.
Oh, I
so
love-
that we
I'm looking
see
forward
I
to
what's
love this. I
happening.
hope somebody's writing down the names of our segments because
Yeah.
I love what they are. I don't even know what they are, but this is the best.
That's so good.
I feel like we should jump straight from that into Watch House.
That's more. To be honest, that segment should be just called like Australian depression.
Yeah, Jas makes us cry.
Yeah.
Like I've literally got tears welling in the back of my eyes.
The C43, that was the killer in
Mate,
that one. That was
that-
the absolute killer.
Oh, E39 as well, because you get both of them.
But just the price of the C43. Like
And,
that's
and guys, remember, these are importable cars.
Yeah, I know.
These are over
This is
25 years old,
criminal.
right?
Yeah, oh mate, they're-
so. What do we rate? What's
I'm
the
there.
actual thoughts on like import costs? Obviously, shipping has gone up exponentially.
yeah, 20 grand for a container now.
Is it 20
18-ish, they've doubled. So container
Well-
used to be 7-ish.
But how many how many cars in that container?
You're talking a 40.
40 foot.
Yeah.
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 But 18-ish, and the answer's not a lot unless somebody's got cool stacking techniques.
But like,
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean-
lengthwise.
Mate, if you go front to back and double stack them, I reckon we could actually do something pretty good.
You should be able to get 4 in them.
Yeah, somebody is.
When I was working at the trucking company, they used to bring the cars in containers.
There you go. So, we
And,
could do
even if you
4
could-
at a
even
time.
if you
they
could
would
get
make
2,
a frame inside.
If you get 2 and say it's 20, that's 10 each.
Mm-hmm.
So 10 grand each, which isn't too bad. So if this car is, what was it, £6,000?
Yep.
What's that? That's 15 grand.
Just double it to give you rough numbers.
So
Yeah.
let's go 12 grand.
Yeah.
10, 22. Then you got to pay what? Import duties, GST.
Well,
no LCT.
It's funny. It's funny you say, Rory. So I've got a quote here for importing these type of cars.
tremendous.
So
Lay it on
I'll
us.
run you through.
Yeah.
I'll run you through. So the quote that I got was for is actually for a 360, a Ferrari 360. And say if it was example, and it's probably a bit more of an expensive example, but say it was a £50,000 car. You've got you need to do asbestos testing. I don't know why we need to do that, but that's £1,300.
I know about
The
that.
the freight is only £1,300, is what I've been told.
What?
That's
Unpacking
cheap.
and customs clearance, $1,800 Australian. Quarantine, $435. Import permit application, $275. Government taxes is the import GST is 10% of the landed value, which includes the shipping,
Good thing it was
and then an
only
import duty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So 50,000.
So-
That import, would the import duty also include the LCT, or does that come after?
LCT is only for any car over the
80.
50,000.
It's gone
It's over
up.
80.
Yeah, they've bumped it up to 80.
76,950 is what he's told me.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was 56, which was why every
It was
Poverty
56, yeah.
Pack 3 series was that amount of money. But yeah, it's up around that.
76. Oh, I
yeah.
thought it was 78. But yeah, 76,950. So you'd be paying LCT on that, but you'd be paying 33% of like 15 grand.
I was going to say, Ben just brought up Ben Nothling in the
Ben
comments,
Nothling.
just brought up a good point that I was about to touch on before when you were talking about the asbestos check. That asbestos check can actually throw a major spanner in the works.
That is a serious problem.
Right.
It's a big one because head gaskets,
Yeah.
asbestos check as well as brake linings can majorly screw you up. And sometimes if you're bringing in a little bit older stuff,
Real
like
trouble.
80s and 90s, it gets to the point where it's like pull the engine out of the car
Yeah.
and send
Oh,
the
here we
engine,
go.
dismantle the engine.
And look,
pull
I
the
know a little
gaskets
bit
out.
about this because I was trying to
Can
get
be
my
a
hands on
big
a
problem.
Testarossa a few years ago because
Scotty.
it would have been under 100 grand to buy the car out of California. It was back again before they went mental, back when people would thought it was a bad idea.
Before the nostalgia of Miami Vice.
And interestingly, the amount of asbestos in that Testarossa actually made the whole exercise. Because as Gibbo said, you got like it's all got to be stripped out.
Yep.
And that is just
And it can get to the point where you're
Real.
actually virtually destroying the car because
Correct.
it can also be things like insulation.
Yes.
So like heat and temperature and sound insulation
and
in
this
older
was the
cars.
problem with the Testarossa was there's just asbestos. It's like
Yes,
it's like buying a 1940s house in Brisbane. It's
Yeah.
just everything is made out of it.
They're basically condemned. And yeah, so Megaphone has a good point, which I was going to bring up as well, in that MCM, they've got the engine back now, but they lost the engine out of the 240Z that they imported when they brought it into Australia. And that engine had to get stripped down and only the metal parts brought in, sounds, the head gaskets and paper gaskets and anything that could like be asbestos suspect has to be stripped out of it and destroyed. So you have to pay for disassembly, removal, destruction of any of that stuff. And that is where that hidden cost can really come back to bite you in the ass.
So
when
we
you start
need
bringing
an
in the salt
asbestos
stuff.
guy in the UK, but luckily we know a few people over there, so we got
do
the right
now.
people to ask.
It's not too hard to find dodgy people in the UK, so just find a dodgy guy who can just be like a phone worthy. We call it like a phone bestos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
asbestos.
Foestos?
Yeah, Fostos. Yeah.
I've just had another
best friend
idea.
dos.
And my favourite part about this show is this is just a stream of consciousness. There's just stuff coming straight off the top of the head. This is absolutely where we need to start our membership club, and for $20 a week, and then we'll start shipping the cars in, and then we can do giveaways to our members.
Oh, we can raffle them.
And we can give because it's a value club. Remember, you've got to be a membership, and you get deals
That's
for all
right.
the things. Actually, we've got pretty good hookups, so we could probably give some pretty good deals. And what we'll do is we'll use that money to buy these ridiculous shit boxes that we laugh about on this show. This is all coming together.
It's actually.
It's not a dumb idea.
That's right.
That is actually the least dumb idea I've had for ages, because all I want to do is buy all these cars. Then we're going to test drive them when they get here as part of the episode, and then we'll raffle them off to our members.
Man, that's
Boys.
C43. What year is the C43? 96.
How are we going to get that here?
99.
What's the total there, Jazz? Is that 17,000?
So I don't know if you can read that.
$Australian
So this is
you
based
can.
on a 15,000 car, and obviously the cars we're looking at were much lower than that, right?
Absolutely,
So on
they
a
were half
15,000 pound, on a 15,000 pound car, based on the taxes, based on 15,000 pounds, it was about 17,000 of charges to get it to Australia.
See,
So
my issue here is, how is the freight that cheap?
What do you mean? That's 17 grand to move it.
No, as in like ocean freight.
the actual freight, yeah.
actual freight itself.
The actual freight, like that's all import fees. The actual freight is 1,300
grand.
pounds.
Yeah.
It's a volume of scale, though.
Oh, that'll be row. That'll be roll on, roll off. That won't be in a container.
Oh, true.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Would it? I don't know.
I don't know. That just
Or-
that's
or am I not?
that's ballistically cheap.
Nah, it'd be a container for
very
sure.
It does seem ballistically cheap, but either way, if you would like, I'm going to set this business up for our membership, Wheelhouse Membership Club, and Jas is going to find us cars. This is
I'm all
happening.
for it.
I
I'm going to have to start
honestly,
working some more. I've
Because
got cars to buy.
mate, I just want to bring cars in. I just
The
want to have
the craziest part is we are
7,000
getting
cars.
very close, very very close. So the issue is if the car is not 25 years or older, Jas can only bring one every 3 years in.
One every 5 years, unless it's on the SEVs list, and which has been changed recently. But I do know of some really big dog cars that are about to be added to that are going to be.
So the
awesome.
majority of like modern car bargains you can't do, because if the car was sold here, you can't bring it in.
I don't
unless-
want anything that was made after the year 1999, so this is no concern.
But we're
Jack.
getting into the mid 2000s. Like
I
they're
know.
not. That's not far. And
Mate,
that's
this is the
all,
thing. There's gangster stuff coming.
There's big dog stuff coming. Like
Oh,
E46s. A lot.
Yeah,
All just
996s.
easy importable.
I'm going to
unbelievable.
have to start working a lot
And see,
more.
then if we're just raffling them off, it doesn't matter. We can because then we're actually not making a profit on the sale of the car, and we can be as transparent as we were
just
tonight
give it
about
away.
what we're buying because
Yep.
we're giving it away.
That's right.
And so we can show you down to the dollar of what this costs us.
We'll probably be permanently depressed, bud, because we won't want to actually give any of them away.
No. We'll just have 7,000
People are like, "Oh, I won the car." You take the cash.
You're like,
Guys, we're not doing very well business-wise.
and the accountant's looking at it going, you guys are the shittest business people we've ever seen. But look at the cars. Oh, you can't drive a house, but you can sleep in a car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's got a shed full of old shit boxes.
Jas, I'm going to ask you a question because Megaphone keeps asking the question. He would like
Oh,
to
sorry, I
know
haven't been looking.
whether you've seen a Lotus Carlton yet.
Ooh.
He says, I'm going to be
I
asking
haven't-
Jas each time if he has seen a Lotus Carlton.
Do you know what? I have genuinely been on the looking out for cars that we never got. TVRs, Lotus Carlton's one of them, those type of cars. And I just have
I
not
love
seen
the
one around.
TVRs.
But the weather is not great at the moment, so people aren't taking their cars out as much. So I'm going to hopefully head to a car meet in the next couple of weeks.
Take some photos. We'll rate
my-
some cars next time.
Yeah. I've got my Goodwood tickets booked, guys. So hopefully we'll, have plenty of content coming.
Mm-hmm. You going again, Scotty?
Oh, I don't
Is that
know.
on the cards?
Depends, mate.
Last time it was very last minute.
It was very, look. It was.
I'll ask you the day before.
It was 3 days before, but look, there might be a car that needs a Formula One mechanic such as myself.
That's right.
We'll just wait and see if I get the call up this year.
No worries, Megaphone.
the Lotus Carlton has the infamy of being, it was the WRX before WRXs. It was the car where
I'm not familiar with the Lotus Carlton.
I don't know it either, and I know
you'll
a
know
lot
it as
of
soon as you see it. It was like a
obscure
it
Lotus.
was like a British Commodore.
Really?
And they used it for all the bank heists and stuff like that.
Oh, that one. I know what you're talking about. Oh, okay. All right. I'll throw this up in front of your face, Jas, so that the good people can see what we're talking
It's
about.
a 4-door Honda
Yeah,
Brilliant.
It was a twin turbo. It was a twin turbo job.
God, it looks fucking horrible,
I love them.
mate. It's somewhere. There's
It's like a Fox body EL Falcon.
an EL and a VL had a really unattractive baby.
but very rare too.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I
Really
can
rare.
see why, because they look like shit.
It's probably like stupidly fast as well. There you go. 176 mile an hour.
Yeah, they
I mean,
had
look
something
at it.
like
Oh god.
It does look like an old Commodore.
It does, like a VH.
And then like a pug, and its face
Yeah.
has been squashed in, and it
it had something like 400 horsepower, didn't it? It had a lot of horsepower for back in the day.
377.
Yeah, that's big.
There you go.
That's big horsepower for again that period of time.
Mm.
That is, look, it is very cool, but it is simultaneously disgusting. I'm really struggling with this car.
I think the cool factor is the fact that it's a Lotus.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be. I mean, Lotus is a stylish car.
Yeah, it was a very abstract car for them to make.
Did they have their eyes closed when they designed it? They must have. They must have had a power outage, and they drew it in the dark. And
that would've been
the
pretty
people at the
that would've been
modelling
pretty
factory are like, really? Yeah, all right. And then they built it, and then nobody wanted to say anything because nobody wanted to embarrass anybody.
Yeah, it was a real hoodlum car when they came out. They're always getting stolen.
Speaking of getting stolen,
Take
how
the house.
good has the what are they? The bloody Range Rover Sports that all get stolen? I was watching a video the other day on how they steal them and how fast you can do it with coating the key.
Yeah, well, also there's another way that I've been hearing about is there's a section in the boot where you drill a hole, and it's literally
There you
just
go.
2 wires that you just cross over, and
Seriously?
it unlocks the car.
Because
Yeah, it's
my
377
I couldn't
horsepower.
believe
It's
it.
not bad.
I watched a video on how they copy the key and the little board that you
Yep.
need, and the fact that there's a way to start it, without it. So it's an emergency. It's like a limp mode
Yep.
thing,
Yeah.
and then you plug the dongle into your OBD, and then you can literally make it scan another key off the car, and it literally
Yep.
and it allows you to create one while you're sitting there, and then
So if you ship
Boom, you're
that car
away.
off to another country, you're selling it as hey, it's a car, it's an imported car with a key, and here are the keys, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. So you don't even need the keys to steal it. It's amazing.
Is it still rampant? Like, are you hearing much about it since you're over there? Is it on the news and shit, or not really?
not as much now. What I have heard is that so the Range Rover, it's still no one that like I've got friends of mine here that have Range Rovers and they will not drive them to London. But it's gotten so bad with the insurance that Land Rover has had to start insuring cars themselves.
Wow.
So that they can
Really?
sell-
So that they can keep selling them because they're so bad. I just can't, like, why don't they patch it? I don't understand.
Yeah, just fix your shit.
Just
Yeah.
fucking fix it. Like, everything else is being, you're trying to make people have subscriptions for fucking seat warmers. I'm sure you can figure this out.
Like, what did Christian Horner say in last year's Drive to Survive? Fix your fucking car.
Fix your fucking car. Like you've got one job.
Yeah.
And this isn't a new problem, and they're still doing it. They're still producing them. Like they're coming off a manufacturing line, still fucked. Like just one person put your hand up and go, I'm smart enough to fix this.
You can only imagine that it's a fundamental build, like in there, it's going to take them ages of R&D to build new parts and start a whole new cycle, and they've just gone.
You'd think it'd just be a patch.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the Volkswagens with their DSG gearboxes where they built them with a fault in them, but to redesign, like they spent $1.5 billion or some stupid amount of money designing them, but then to fix the problem, they were going to have to redesign like heaps of shit to fix the box. So they just kept making them the same way. Like this is not that same problem. This is like, hey, just
it
do
seems
a simple
way easier. Yeah.
It's not like just make it so that you can't.
Especially
steal it
because
with a screwdriver.
no one's buying them, so maybe you should fucking fix it. Because I'm sure insuring cars that are getting stolen is the more expensive exercise than fixing fucking 2 wires that they're using to copy a key.
You'd think the insurance company would be like, hey, fix your shit because we're not going to.
But Land Rover are self-insuring everyone.
Yeah. So
That's
hang
what I
on,
mean.
we've missed the whole thing here. What they've realised is that they're not going to worry about selling the cars, and they'll just build their own insurance company. And this is how they're railing it in. There's probably, mate,
They're going the Tesla route,
this
keeping
is
everything
4D
in house.
chess.
But this is
4D
almost
chess.
the exact same as our business model of giving cars away and
It's
then not giving them
exactly
away.
the same.
Because their insurance model works,
It's a closed
except
loop.
they keep having to pay everyone's insurance out, so they make no money.
It's a closed loop.
But the other thing I've noticed, guys, is in London. So going there last year, end of last year, middle of last year, we all know London is supercar spotters central, and Rory, you probably have noticed it in the social media. You'd always see London spotters. Where I went to London last weekend or 2 weekends ago, and no supercars. I didn't see any around. So I'm thinking, is it changing the scene, right? Like it has to have, right? Because I'm not seeing any. It could be the weather, but I'm not seeing any.
I was going to say, it is the middle of winter over there, isn't it?
Yeah, but we still have sunny days. Like it's sunny-ish today. Sunny-ish.
Sunny, and what's the temperature?
Yeah, 2 degrees.
Yeah, so it could be the weather, but it also could be because, if you go into London, you're going to be parking your car and doing stuff, and then I think people might be just...
Well, you're also going to get hit with 800 surcharges just to even get
that's
right.
10 miles of London
the
city
green
centre.
city tax things that I discovered in Europe
Oh,
driving
it's
around last
stupid.
year is enough to make.
So what are do you know the costs, Jas, of what the London...
So there's 2 costs. So what it is, I've got a bookmark on my browser now, and it says drive. It's called Drive in London, right? So if you're going to London, you have to go to this website, punch in your registration, and it'll tell you how much the cost is. And I believe the congestion charge is something like 10 or 15 pounds per day. And if your car is older than, I think, 2018, you get an extra sort of ULEV or something like ultra high emission car fee on top of that, which I think is probably about the same amount. So it's something like 15 and 15, or maybe it's like 10 and 15. It's so, per day, it could potentially cost you, close to 80 Australian dollars if you want to drive your car into London.
How does it work it out off Rego?
Yeah, so you got cameras. As soon as you're going into London, there's like on the ground they've got like a big circle which says this is the the area which you can't have. There's a congestion charge and a
What's your rego
charge.
We're on the website now. What's
We're
your
on the
rego?
website now. What's your Rego?
I'll give you my rego. Good question. It is, I think it's N151. Let's have a look. You guys are going to pay for a day of me heading out there? Thank you. Very, very good.
I mean, we paid for you to go.
We'll just add it to
N151
We'll add it to your bill.
N151 XGM.
GM. All right, let's have a look. It's thinking. A blue BMW 840 Ci Auto. Confirmed.
One.
15 to 17.50 a day for the congestion charge.
That's
Yep.
pounds.
Pounds.
So
Yep.
$40.
Ultra low
Should be
emission
easy.
zone. 12.50
Yep.
a day. Pounds.
Fuck. So that's another $24.
And then I think
So
that's it.
That's it.
So $55 a day to take your V8 into the centre of town.
Yep. Now
What happens if you lived in London?
You buy.
You get a chart. You get a code tab. It's a lot less, right? Like significantly less. It's like 1 or 2 pounds or something a day. But the congestion charge you'll be looking on today, which will be cheaper on the weekend.
Really?
During the week, it's actually more expensive if you can select
to keep the cars out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's time dependent here too for the congestion charge. 7 in the morning
right.
to 6 at night, Monday to Friday, 12 to 6 at night, Saturday, Sunday, and bank holidays.
Oh, yeah, and I've just figured out why the screen's green.
This is another reason why, people are probably not driving their cars around London as much anymore. Not that you would care if you have a multi-million-pound car, but
yeah, exactly. Man. Or if you're Jeremy Clarkson, sending Caleb in to deliver some mushrooms.
Yeah, so even if you have an old car and you live in London, you get a massive discount, even if it's like an ultra emissions car. Okay, cool.
Yeah. If you have a London address or inside that address, you can have
$58 a day.
That's wild. $58 a day. It's not including parking either.
Because this is what they're actually trying to implement in Brisbane, is the congestion charge to stop you taking your car into the CBD.
Don't they do that in like Sydney or Melbourne or somewhere?
Not yet.
Not yet. I thought they did it somewhere down there.
Brisbane. Who is that? What's his name? What's the dickhead? Who's head of?
The guy who always looks surprised when they stick a camera.
The guy
in his
who's
face?
really trying to push for EV and stuff. Have you seen what he's trying to do? How he's trying to make you have to make a certain amount of percentage of cars that are EV, and then if you don't, and MG would pay nothing because they make only really EVs, but a company like Isuzu would be paying massive fines because they have no EV to offset their production, and he's trying to implement it. I'm like, bro, man, that dude would be shit at parties. Like, no one cares, brother. Go get another hobby.
Not a cool guy.
He's head of like economic, well-being, or not economic well-being, but like the EV or like hybridization and shit.
Electric cars will fail.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
I think they are failing.
Yeah, it's starting to kick back really bad.
Yeah,
now.
all the manufacturers now are rewinding big time on there.
Someone just pulled back huge.
Mercedes, I think it was.
You see my post just the other day, guys, with Mercedes?
It must have been Jas who posted it.
Oh, there you go, Jas. How about you share that story? Because that's actually a massive story.
Because Ford's cancelled it as well. They've pulled back big time on their production of F-150 Lightnings.
Because nobody buys them.
Because nobody wants them.
That's right. And so the big news just literally 2 days ago, Mercedes has come out and said they're reversing the decision on only selling electric vehicles by 2030 is no longer, right? So I think people have realized, or these companies are starting to realize, one, how are they going to keep up with demand? There's not enough, minerals on the earth
in the ground
to get these cars happening. And then there's not enough power in the grid to charge these cars. So, I think, and then, there's a lot of stories coming out about how efficient are they, how bad are they for the environment. And these cars you've seen online, Teslas are now sitting on used car lots and other electric cars sitting on used car lots, not selling, that are, 5 years, 10 years old. People don't want to buy a 10-year-old electric car because, the battery's going to be dead, and that's an $80,000 replacement or whatever. So what are you going to do with it? It ends up in a landfill, and there you've got, there's your next one.
So you've made a throwaway 5-year car.
I heard I read a funny article actually pretty recently, saying that it's getting to the point now in the US specifically where secondhand dealers are not taking EVs because they don't move. So now if you're selling your car, you can't like trade it in because none of them want them because they're like, well, now all of a sudden we got 15 of them on the lot. So dealers are only taking in if it's like 1 year or 2 years old or 3 years old. If it's 8 to 10 years old, dealers are saying like, oh, we don't want it, we don't accept it. So now if you've bought one, you're like, well, I've got to try and sell it secondhand, and no one's buying them. So it's like, oh shit, what do I do with this car? And there's being a really large, becoming a big problem in the States.
Here's the best thing. We'll learn how to LS swap them, and then they'll be the new S15.
LS swapped Teslas.
Yeah.
That's a big thing
One
in
of
the
my
States
favorite
now.
things was that a guy rocked up to a Tesla meet in a Tesla and he'd swapped it with an LS.
Yeah.
Because I've just see, look at us figuring all this out live. You buy whatever, it's the AU Falcon that was. You buy them when they're collapsed and everybody thinks they're a turd, and then we make 100 LS swapped Teslas, and then we get those bad boys out in the market. We raffle those off. This is all going to work.
So I just wanted to check something. I've got Gibbo here to look at how much is the 2023 Ford F-150 Lightning.
It is 50 grand US.
So 100,
50 grand US.
which means it'd be 300,000 by the time it got here.
Yeah, so that's actually not too bad, but
Starting price.
that's okay. Starting,
And that's the RRP too.
That's what a
you'd
911
actually
would
pay.
cost in the States as
because
well.
I was reading that they were about. Yeah, I think I was reading that they're about drive away. People were saying they're 30 to 50 grand more than a Raptor, and that's why no one's buying them, because it's priced out of its own market. Now that price says that they're only 50,000. The US is impossible to look at RRP because it says 50,000 to sell it. You go to the dealer and he's put 100,000 markup on the 50,000, so it's 150 grand.
I would fully expect that to be the price of one.
Yeah. So, and people are saying like, why is this so expensive? And that's meant to be like this whiz bang, change the globe sort of truck because it can power your house. I don't know if you guys know that, but it has the ability. The new F-150 Lightning from Ford has a plug-in in the back where if you lost power at your house, it can keep your household running for 2 days.
Gee.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, legit. It's got all power tool plugins and stuff in the back, so you can take it to a job site and you can run all the power tools off. It's like its own generator.
That's actually pretty sick.
So it's got all these really cool features, but it's so expensive that no one wants to buy it because they're like, well, the top of the range Raptor is like 30,000 US less. So, because they must be way more expensive drive away than what that price says.
Yeah. Well, it's saying here as well that in the US, they've been doing, it's had 4 price rises in 12 months. And then they've dropped the price of new F-150 Lightnings by 10 grand US. Like, that's huge for the States. That's enormous amount of money.
Trying to get them out of there.
Because it says the F1 Lightning has slow demand and low pickups. They're not selling.
So if it's 50,000, so that's 50,000 before tax. So you're probably looking at, it's probably actually 70,000 US, right?
Probably.
A good friend of Jas and mine, Sam, he is sort of looking like he might be moving to the States soon, and he's looking at getting a car. And he's been always a bit of a car guy. He's had a Huracan, has a Lotus Emira at the moment. And so he's like, if I'm moving to the States, the first cars I want to buy have to be American cars. So the first thing in cab of his ranks is like what any normal car person should be is a GT350R. But he's like, I'm gonna need a daily. And he said to me the other night, he's like, have you seen how much a Ram TRX is secondhand in the US? I was like, no, I haven't. He's like, no, fuck that. Have you seen how much they are brand new? I was like, no. He's like, well, how much are they in Australia? I was like, oh, brand new from Ram, they're like
Couple of
280 plus.
Yeah.
And I was like, a mate of mine just sold his secondhand, had 21,000 Ks, and he sold it for 219. He showed me a picture. There's 78,000 US dollars for a Ram TRX. I was like, man, that is so sick. Like, he's like, I'm getting one.
Yeah.
So if that's 78,000,
Which is 120 grand here.
yeah, and a Lightning, let's say a Lightning realistically after taxes included is 70,000.
Yeah.
Right, you're not buying a F-150 Lightning over a Ram TRX. It makes 700 horsepower.
Yeah. I think it's also a bit of the rabbit hole as well, which you can go down is like, what do you do with these cars after 10 years? Like, Like you get anything else, any IC engine car, after 10 years, that car will still, like, you put 50 litres in, you're still going to get X amount of kilometres out of that car.
There's a slight drop off, but it's nothing.
But it's not like,
immense.
A 10-year-old electric car like a Tesla or a Lightning or something like this. After 10 years, your battery is fucked. You got to go spend 50 grand to put another battery in it. Like,
and the other thing that I don't hear
there's no resale
people
on
talking
those.
about is with the battery.
Stop it, Jas. Stop it.
Cars.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Is how they actually hold less and less charge over time as well.
Yeah, like your
so
phone.
your
Think of your
100%
iPhone.
is no longer 100%.
That's right.
It
right.
starts getting worse basically from the first time you charge it. And I'd also be fascinated to know, just because I don't know anything about it, but I know a lot about batteries, is, how you incorrectly charge a battery, how you actually fuck its
lifespan.
memory
Yeah,
and its
correct.
lifespan.
Memory.
So, and if you are doing the things where you're plugging it in, unplugging it, you're not running it down, you're not like fully cycling it, because again, with camera batteries and the big
Storing
VLOX
it
and
at
stuff
the
I
incorrect
use,
amount of charge.
and storing it at the correct temperature and all these other things that come into battery management, imagine how fucked they're getting when they get plugged in every day and they're only going down to 70 and they're just going 70 to 90, 70 to 90, 70 to 90. Like how rooted these will be.
Well, I think we'll soon start to find out because the Teslas really started to make waves properly around 2011, 2012, 2013 when it was the like the Model S. You had like the P75, the P70D, P80D. Then there was the P100D, which is the first one that came with it. It wasn't always ludicrous mode. I think it was insanity mode. Was it?
Plaid or something?
Nah,
Yeah,
Plaid's the new one.
Oh, is it a new one?
that was one of
The
the
first one had like insanity mode, and they had to
Yeah.
change it to ludicrous because it was offensive to people who are clinically insane or something fucking stupid.
Yep.
Because only clinically insane people buy Teslas.
That's right.
Correct.
So they'd be coming on 10, maybe 12 years old now, and it'd be interesting to know how the livability is with a fucking P80D that's done 150,000 Ks.
I just want to know if Driftworks are working on a knuckle kit for it.
Could be.
I want to see that going. This is all
Going
I'm hearing.
super
I'm
sideways.
hearing people saying depreciating car, and I'm thinking drift chassis.
That's right.
It's all I can hear.
Oh, here we go.
There it
Yeah,
is.
because I thought that was,
$18,000.
that was a good looking car. And mate, that bad boy,
225,000 miles.
Jesus.
I'd love to know,
that's
like,
done some work. Fucking hell. For 2015, that must have been a taxi or something, just working 24 hours a day to pay for itself.
probably a churro car or something like that.
Yeah,
cheap.
touring car
That's-
makes sense.
No one's going to want to touch that.
Yeah,
That's-
who would in their right mind buy that? Like nobody who knows even the smallest amount of stuff about like cars and phone batteries and anything.
Have you
would
seen
buy
those
that.
American car things though, where people are getting their car on a 70% loan over?
I keep forgetting America is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, even
12
America
years.
is stupid. but even
education's
so,
not
I don't think they're
important.
stupid, and I don't think many
No.
people are going to... Because you could get a fucking new one.
Well,
Yeah.
no, they'd probably buy a Hemi instead.
They would.
Yeah.
And
They buy
drive that
an
before it
LS
gets
and swap it in.
repossessed.
Well, there's a Boosted Boys, which is a YouTube channel, pretty funny YouTube channel. They would build a lot of cool cars. They bought a wrecked Tesla Plaid, which is like the Model S shape, and so that's the big boy, real fast 9-second car.
Dual motor stuff.
And it was wrecked. It was wrecked into the rear and the front. But the car itself was fine. It just had like chassis damage. So they pulled the whole.
Is this the one
top
they
of it off.
they cut up?
They cut it up and they put a minivan shell on the top, and they now have it. It's called the minivan Plaid, and it does like a 9.5 down the quarter or whatever, and it's got a full Plaid interior,
Very cool.
but it's just a minivan. It's really really cool. It's really 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 cool.
I've seen that.
So I
is
like
golden.
people doing that, but even they said it's fun, but it's not that fun.
We've just the comments here are going wild. Sharp Imagery says nobody buying Teslas knows about batteries, which is fair
true.
enough.
Checks out,
And
yeah.
then the fridge, our man Richard. When people imported the first gen Toyota Prius and then had battery issues, they were getting bills for $7,000 on a $10,000 car.
That's right.
So let's just say history will repeat and say that's what's going to happen.
Look, all the
Yeah.
boys in the comments are all about the K cars, and you know what? I'm here for it.
I think the K cars are great.
I'd take
and
a K car over an electric car any day.
I will absolutely drive something with 1 horsepower before I give it away.
650cc turbocharged
Yeah.
thingamajig.
I was saying today when we went out to lunch with my wife and my boy, and I can't even remember why we were talking about it, but I said I only want cars that go. That's it. That's what I want my cars to do. All right, and until you can turbocharge an electric car, like put an electric fucking turbo onto it. Do that.
They'll put the turbo sound in there.
Or
Play it through
they'll
the
be
speakers.
Porsche and they'll put the turbo badge on it.
They didn't, did they?
Yeah, the Taycan
On the
turbo.
electric one.
Turbo S, GTS.
You just go, what's turbo about it?
Yeah. We just need people to like just not fucking buy them. It's
Yeah.
like I say, it's the same thing I use whenever a current affair or anyone does a Hoon segment. I'm like, just don't watch it. Because the reason they make the segments is because we all watch it and then they get heaps of views. So they're like, oh, we haven't had many views in the last 3 months. We'll do another Hoon segment. If none of us watched it, they'd be like, well, there's no point doing that. If no one buys any of these shitbox electric cars, like... If your missus wants an electric car, just get her something else.
Just get a new missus.
Get it, yeah. Oh, true.
Oh,
Actually.
Gibbo wins. Oh,
I don't have a missus, so I can say that.
absolutely, mate. That's 11 out of 10. That's the best thing I've heard on Wheelhouse
Yeah, like
tonight.
just don't get it. If she likes the new MG or whatever. Just
Hang
be
on.
like,
Can someone remind me? I need to make a reel because my brother's been telling me if we actually make reels, people will watch. Where are we up to in the show? At 1 minute 46 and 27 seconds, I need to make a reel of Gibbo's comment there.
just get a new missus.
That was
in.
world
Just get a
class.
new missus.
Oh, that'll be the one that makes us go viral.
That's it.
But it's true. It's true. If things don't sell,
Yeah, if they don't sell,
manufacturers will backpedal.
they won't make
Yeah.
it.
Manufacturers will backpedal hard on anything that the government's trying to implement if they know they're not going to make any fucking money out of it.
Yeah.
Here we go. We've got.
I think-
hang on. Comments are going mad
Sharpie's
here
going
because
off here.
The Ford
Tell us what you
Supervan
really think,
did a
Sharpie.
156.7 at Bathurst off a standing start at Murray's, and I'm really pleased that Ford can move fast because they can pay that fucking invoice I sent to them.
So the Ford, what? Oh, that's the 1,000
the-
horsepower supervan.
Yeah, the electric.
Okay,
the
well
new
let's
electric one.
put the Porsche 919 Le Mans car around Bathurst and see what that does. It's not fucking relevant. The car makes 1,000 horsepower.
It's not
of
a real
course it's in a
car.
150
Well-
fucking six.
And Kia did it first.
Yeah, I remember
Let's
there
put
was-
let's put a F1 car around it.
I was watching that the other
Didn't
day. and there was
Jensen
the-
Button did take the F1 car around it, didn't he? In a couple of years ago, and he did a 148.
Wow.
I thought it was Lounsey was in the car. Oh no, that was
No, it
way
was
back
Jensen.
when. That was way back when. That was back
Yep.
when it was
Actually, they put the AMG around it, the unlimited AMG. It had DRS and it had like did have the limited horsepower.
Yeah, that's
The
right.
GT3 car, I think it was only making 700 horsepower.
Did like lap
wow.
record.
Had,
didn't it?
yeah, did a 156.
Yeah.
So the van makes 1,000 horsepower and it still didn't match the same time on a
So,
standing start.
Mate, the comments here on YouTube, this is why we do this. We love it when you fellas are in here. Just absolutely letting rip. Mr. Nothling had a 1990s PC that had a turbo button, but it didn't make the choo-choo noises. Sharpie says the people need to fight back. Oh, mate. And Chris Campbell throws a bit of Plaid Odyssey, the Honda Odyssey. Let's make one of those go fast.
That's the Booster Boys car. It's an Odyssey.
This is amazing.
Going on about that super.
I'm just
van,
triggered about that super van.
I watched that.
I'm triggered too.
And then I remember there was a commentator or something commenting on it, and he was saying like, "Oh, it's a van. You could like go and do deliveries in it." And then it shows, as he says that, the back end view of it, and it's like all this slipstream aero stuff with all cage frame and stuff. And I was just like, man, you just got people that are just talking shit, like just commenting on, watching this stuff, commenting on it. It's like, just shut up.
Absolutely, but that's also what we're doing.
Let's
So-
listen to the hairdryer going around the track.
You wouldn't even notice. It'd go past.
Yeah. Just,
Has the race started?
what's
Hang
it?
on. Oh, hang on. We've got a question here. It feels like we're moving on to another segment. Thoughts on the Ionic 5N? Is that the one that hit the hay bales at Goodwood?
Yes. That's like the drift version, I think. But yeah, it is. There's a guy I follow who's just taken delivery of one as a daily. He has a GT3 at 991.1 GT3 RS
I like
as his
that.
track car. So it looks really good.
I think the one that hit the hay bales was the I-30.
No,
van
it
or
was
something.
this
And,
thing.
wasn't it?
No, it was this thing.
Yeah, it was this.
It was the concept.
Because they were giving it the berries and then the electronic steering or something didn't steer or something stopped working.
Type Ionic 5 and drift car.
Yeah, Goodwood. I actually felt really sorry for them because imagine
Yeah, it was
launching
that
your
thing.
car and then sending it into the hay bales.
Didn't you have a photo of this one, Scotty,
Probably.
in your thingy?
Yeah, he would have. You know the worst part about this car? So it came to World Time Attack,
Yeah.
this thing, and it drove past, and I was walking with a mate of mine, and I drove past, and I was like, oh, that's weird, that Ionic, I thought that was an electric car. And he said, yeah, I thought it was too. And then I was talking to some other people later, and they said, oh, have you guys heard the Ionic 5? It's got like fake engine sounds. I was like, no, I don't think they're fake. I was like, I heard it changing gears. He's like, yeah, it has that. Like, it pretends it's changing gear. I was like, kill yourself. Absolutely
That's
kill
what you
yourself.
So
hate
that's
that.
why the car went into the hay bales, because it was so embarrassed.
Probably
Yeah.
died of
No,
shame.
because it was trying to convince everyone it missed a gear.
Oh,
It has the
hey,
pops and
you can put
crackles
it-
as well.
You can put a crackle tune into it, and then,
Honestly.
then we can really dislike it.
Buying an electric car that not only has
makes
fake engine
Fake
sounds,
noises.
but has fake,
Fake gear changes.
manual gearbox gear changes, you need to go bungee jumping without the cord.
Go and headbutt a tree.
I mean,
It'll
it's a
thank you.
good looking thing, but if it would be even better if it had a 2.5 litre turbo on it.
I actually really like the livery.
Yeah.
Credit to whatever Hyundai are doing with whatever that hideous blue color is. But that looks great with the red and the black. That's good.
Look, Hyundai are doing awesome things, but this is not one of them.
No.
And no one can convince me otherwise.
Yeah, I'm with
You know the best part about it? At World Time Attack, they had Suchiya doing drift demonstrations of it around the track.
I think there's a photo of him down here with it.
Yeah, that wasn't drifting.
No. There he is.
It looked like he was hating it.
I'm sure he
Probably
was.
was, but
luckily
he wouldn't have been hating what they were paying.
No,
him,
he was crying into his bank account.
That's right.
Just
Yeah.
wiping his tears with hundreds.
I tell you what, I do like the look of it because it
Oh, it looks
reminds.
shit hot.
It looks fabulous. I just hate that it's an electric ride.
It's all right, boys. We know what we're going to do. We're going to LS swap it.
Let's swap the world, man.
But you think about it, right? These guys are being paid to like cars. This is how the whole car industry is changing. It will not last because in the history of time, when have guys famous people been paid to enjoy enthusiast cars? They're
You
not. You
make
get
a
in them.
very valid point.
Yeah.
Because you didn't need to, because enthusiasts just told each other at their one make car clubs.
Well, and you can't pay these people forever.
No.
So you pay Suchiya for 2 or 3 years, and then the contract's up and you don't pay him anymore, and he gets out and he's like a piece of shit.
piece of shit. Yeah.
And you're like, oh, true.
Oh, hey, did anybody ever hear that? Oh, you've just reminded me of that song, Piece of Shit Car. I think it's actually an Adam Sandler number.
I haven't heard
I
it.
don't think you guys are that old. Do yourself a favor and look up Piece of Shit Car by Adam Sandler at some point in time. You don't have to do that right now, but that song just played in my head.
But yeah, I just not about it. Not about the fake manual gear. Like it was acting like it had a clutch.
You're killing
It'd be
me.
like,
That's terrible.
How much is it?
how much is it? Have a look.
Do we know?
$1.
Do we know roughly how much? Because that's going to be the big one. Is like, what are they charging for this thing? Because for me, it's like, what is it going to?
Under 85,000, it has to be to skip luxury car tax.
65.
There you go.
65 grand.
It's a lot of money to look that dumb.
That's a lot for a Ryobi lawnmower.
So it's not even a Milwaukee, mate. Oh, ouch. Burn.
Yeah, so the guy I know that just bought one, well, I don't know him, I follow him. His track car's a 991.1 GT3 RS, and he used to daily a Mustang, like a 2021 Mustang.
That's sick.
And then I saw he got this. I was like, I wonder how long that's going to last, like how long he's going to be into that for.
Yeah.
Because he went C63, he went, I can't remember what he had. He had like a Lotus or something as a daily, and then it didn't last long. Then he had a C63, and then a new gen Mustang, and then he had a Bullet, and then a new gen Mustang, and now this.
I do like the bullets. Actually, was that the one that came not to this, your recent one, but the one before that? Because I remember there was a Bullet Mustang there.
No, that wouldn't have been him. I don't think he's been yet. His plate's a chemist because he's a legitimate chemist, like an actual, not a backyard chemist. He's an actual chemist.
Not a
Breaking Bad.
Brian
Yeah.
Cranston.
Just to be clear.
Not a self-employed chemist. He's
Excellent.
a genuine chemist.
He's a real chemist doing chemistry things.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I'd rather have that C30, C43 AMG over that Hyundai on the front.
And that's all I could see in my
Isn't
head.
that a sad thing to be able to have to say?
That car with the monoblocks. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And I don't really consider myself a Mercedes man.
For
but,
65 grand, like you think about what that's in the ballpark of in terms of daily driver.
Unbelievable.
Like 65 grand puts you in, that's like Mark 8 Golf R. That's Honda Civic Type R. I'm just trying to think what 65 actually doesn't really get you that much.
No, it doesn't get you that much. That's a new poverty pack.
Well, if you start looking at secondhand cars, man, that's
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Because again, I don't buy new cars because you can't convince me.
GR86. It's a fucking awesome car.
Mate, for that kind of money,
Kia Stinger.
I'd have a one make series.
Actually, GR86
RS3.
just reminded me. Have you guys seen the It's giving our competitors a shout out, but Chris Harris did a comparison drive between a 992 GT3 RS and the new McLaren 750S, and he put like a lap time in for both of them around a circuit.
Oh, and yes, I did see that. It was a small circuit that they do testing on, and it was quite surprising that they weren't that far apart, right?
The McLaren was 1.4 seconds faster around a track than a GT3 RS.
What?
But it was a 750, and he said it was just it's that next level. If you want to beat a GT3, you have to go to that next level.
Yep. It just reminded me because Chris Harris rated the GR86, and I thought that was quite shocking because you kind of think the GT3 RS is untouchable.
Fridge just says 65K is 5K trucks.
That's a better investment too.
5K, as I said, we're for $65,000. I'm starting my own one make series and buying the whole fleet of cars.
65 grand is a lot of money to put into a sporty EV car.
It's a lot of $2,000 cars, mate.
It's a lot of depreciation.
What are the new Teslas? What's a Model 3?
They're tapping 70. They're getting right up. This is why the LCT's gone up as well, is so the Povo Tesla fits in.
Let me tell you, 61, 62. Before on roads.
That'd be the non-twin engine.
65, yeah.
That's before air conditioning, let me assure you. That's
right.
Before air conditioning.
Well, you got to pay extra for that subscription.
Yeah, that's where the doors don't fit properly.
Correct.
So they're looking at 61,900 before on roads, so add another $4,500, while the long range is 71,900 before on roads, which is another $500.
And you'll notice just under luxury car tax.
Mm-hmm.
How convenient.
Certainly is. Hopefully these cars get more expensive so they keep lifting the luxury car.
Just build me a nuclear power station. The special fuels that they were running at Goodwood.
What about the Cybertruck? How's that launch been?
Oh, did you see
rusting? Have you guys seen that?
Rusting
Isn't that a catastrophe?
Yeah.
Isn't they? I thought they were fucking stainless. How's it rusting?
Not Chinese stainless, maybe.
They're stainless, Scott, not rustless, okay?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't realise stainless steel wasn't
Good
exactly.
night, Ben.
Where's the metallurgy coming from? Oh, good night, Ben.
Ben's going to sleep.
See you, buddy. We always love having you here.
Thanks for tuning in, Ben.
It's a real blessing. There's actually still a surprising number of people on. And when I say surprising, 8, which is impressive. So it means in the room right now, I can't do math. Is that 16? What's 8? 8 and 4, 8, 12.
Yep.
Fuck. This is why I have to count on my fingers. I'm dumber than I look.
12 people for your new 12 cylinders.
12 people for 12 cylinders. Oh, yeah. Could we move on to project cars?
Happy to.
Oh, yes. Let's go.
Who wants an update on project cars?
I would love an update.
About your project cars.
In case anybody doesn't know, I was dropped on my head as a child. My most recent acquisitions include an E46 4-door that's basically just a rolling shell. However, on inspection, so 4-door E36. I've bought more cars. You're across this. So this 4-door E36, I'm going to turn into a drift chassis. I had ideas of putting a V12 in it because I accidentally bought a 750 with it as well. So I've now got a 1994 long wheelbase 750, and it's got the like walnut, whatever the timber things. It's like a Rolls Royce in the back. So it's got the electric seats. It's got the little fold down tables. There's little lights that come on because I've got power to it. And I've got a video coming. I'll have to. Oh, look.
Ben's not going to bed now. You're talking about this.
If I send this, a shout out to Ben Nothling at Cool Drive, because I discovered that I needed Bosch fuel pumps. Now, let's go and play V12s for a minute, just so that we're switching gears and you know what I'm talking about. The V12 of 1994 is basically 2 6-cylinder engines, and they strap them together with a couple of rubber bands. It has 2 ECUs, and then it has a third ECU that makes the 2 ECUs talk to each other, but basically everything has to be identical all the way through. This car was unable to be started, and so Scotty Robinson, who I got the cars off, had been testing what worked and what didn't work. He slapped 2 much bigger Bosch Motorsport pumps in, because that was what he had on the shelf, and he managed to make the car start. What we did was we made a real mess. We had a bucket of fuel in the boot. We then submerged the 2 Bosch pumps that Cool Drive were able to find for us.
Good on you, Benny.
Good on you, Ben. Absolute legend, supporting stupidity. Mm-hmm. We made this fucking
You should
car
put that on a
start.
sticker, supporting
Mate,
stupidity.
Supporting stupidity. So, speaking of supporting stupidity, my friends at CBD Auto on Deshan Street, who have provided me with 2 parking spaces and a set of keys to their garage, yeah, boy, they have facilitated making this happen. And Brody and Sean were there, and mate, we got the fucking thing started. We made a
Success.
300 horsepower V12 go.
Wow.
And
It's
the
just a
noise.
question on that, Scott. Didn't they had like 2 batteries, 2 everything, didn't they? Like,
Mate, it has a lot of everything. There might be a second battery, I haven't gone looking, but I was able to start it with the battery that's under. So driver's side of the car, it's under the rear seat is where the battery is, which is super inconvenient. But when you open the bonnet and you look at how much fucking engine's in there,
It's a lot of engine.
there's a lot of engine.
You see, it's funny because you could almost use this theory to tie back into what we just spent like the last 20 minutes talking about, where clearly in 1996, BMWs were like, this is a great idea, right? We'll put the 2 V6s together to uncomplicate it. We'll just do 2 of everything because we've already got the parts here. So just 2 ECUs and put another one just to get to the torque, and then 2 batteries, and then extra fuel pumps and just everything else, right? And that's genius. 30 years later, everyone's like, this is the dumbest shit anyone's ever invented. Electric cars right now, this is genius. This car's battery can get you this far. 30 years' time, this is the dumbest shit anyone's ever done. That's literally the same thing.
You want to go faster? We'll put motors in the rear as well.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, but I just fucking love dumb shit. And honestly, making this V12 start, because I've only owned it for 2 weeks, and the first thing I did was try to, create solutions to the obvious problems. The first obvious problem being we couldn't start it. The fact that it started, so exciting. We then realised that you can go foot to the floor and it's like... So it's got a bit of revs on it, it's going, but the computer's basically forgotten... I'm going to say telemetry, it's probably the wrong word, but you know how you got 0 revs to 100% revs? It doesn't know the math and it's not working properly.
Right.
So Sean looked up the pedal dance for that car and it was...
Surprised it doesn't have 2 pedals.
Mate, amazing. But you just, throw it to spot number 2 on ignition and then you do... hold it down, hit the kick down, go again, something else, and that's supposed to reset it. Oh. We found this on Bimmer forums, I think it was. This is a Joy of All Cars.
Bimmer post, yeah.
Love the forums.
Every problem that anybody has ever had with an old car is documented, and the solution exists on a car forum from 2006. That's what I love about 90s cars the most. And so we tried that, but that didn't work either. We also discovered it's sucking a bit of air, which means it'll be throwing the AFR off. It's got 2...
Of course, it's got 2.
Of course, it can't be collected. No. And people keep saying you're going to put ITBs on it. I'm like, I'm just making noises. But the most glorious part of this whole story was it fucking started. Because this long wheelbase 7 Series also has an LSD in it.
Ooh.
And again, my
It's going to lay 2 lines instead of 1.
Hey, this could be the first car we give away.
Double of everything.
This could be the first car we give away, people.
We'll be sued so fast for giving away such a complicated
Get a
car.
roadworthy for this thing.
We got the phone worthy.
And the phone Bestos as well in it too.
Oh, mate, with the Phobestos. This could absolutely be our first Wheelhouse giveaway car. Because my idea with this car is get it going, register it, and then actually sell it. And then whatever I make out of that, I want to tip into the E36 4-door drift car that's sitting behind it.
Yeah.
And what I discovered, because I basically did not inspect either of these cars, I just looked at them and the man who was selling them, and I'm like, if you say it's good, mate, that's hand on the Bible stuff. And what I'm discovering is I opened the bonnet on the E36 and there's an engine in there. I'm like, hey, that's cool. And then I looked at the strut towers and I'm like, it's got adjustable coils in it. Oh, that's a bonus. And then we opened the back and it's full of parts. And Brody was looking at it and he went, that steering rack with the purple sticker on it, he's like, that's the good one. That's the one that people look for. He said, I think it's 3 rotations lock to lock.
Yep.
Apparently it's the U-Butte, Ducks Guts. And I'm just there going, Fuck yeah.
Sounds like you might not be the first person to have the idea to turn that car into a drift car, Scotty.
Well,
What motor is it? Just a standard
mate, it's a
M52?
318. So,
Oh shit, no.
if anybody needs a boat anchor,
Yeah.
I'm happy to accept cash for that. So,
So I'm just impressed by Scott's progress here because this
Mate.
is him operating at Usain Bolt levels of speed.
yeah,
I,
this is remarkable,
as
Scotty.
I say all the time, I am
You'll be
not
on a
here to
space program
fornicate
next.
with arachnids. When I say I'm going to do something, I tend not to muck
2
around.
weeks into
That's
ownership
right.
and she's running.
yeah.
Yep.
But the plan is still to put the 12 in the 3? Is that the...
It's over now. I can't take it out, mate. That car, because again, I hadn't looked at it, hadn't sat in it, hadn't done anything. I just kept walking past it for a year and going, I'll pay $1. And then he's like, look, we'll bundle, and we did a special deal to get both cars just to give him some space.
What?
So I literally, this is the dumbest. And here's my favourite part. I haven't even told the boss about it yet.
She's going to find out now.
No, well, I talk about it on the shows because she wouldn't listen to this rubbish. And this is the best part. I learnt this from somebody else. Just park the cars somewhere else. If they're somewhere else, you're like, and it's like, how many cars you got now? Lots.
That's right.
That other BMW parked down the street isn't mine.
Okay, which one? Turns out Scotty Robinson does that. He's got like 7 cars parked down the street, and his neighbours are like a bit, and like they're all registered. He's like, I have cars everywhere, and this man has a shed, and then he has another shed, and I'm like, you're the king.
Wish I
so
could do that.
progress is going real hard.
So the plan now is not to pull the V12 out into the E36.
I can't do it.
It's just to clean it up, tidy it up, get it running,
Clean it
driving,
up.
sell it.
Tidy it up, drive it round, run it through some tunnels, make the exhaust fall off, see if we can make it sound like an F1 car, and then
And it's got an LSD, so it'll skid.
and it has an LSD, so it'll skid.
Almost a heartbreaking thing that it's in such good condition.
It's so beautiful. I cannot do it to this car.
It's like the golden handcuffs. Like you've
It
got
is.
LSD, V12.
And it's gold.
Gold, got all the good stuff.
And it has a Motorola TACS, TACS, Motorola handset, cradle in it.
You would have bought it just for that.
I bought it just, look, I've got to be honest, the 1992 phone in the center console. So what I've done is I've jumped on eBay. I have found the identical phone, but in mint condition. It even has the Cellnet leather case with the zip on it for any other old people listening to the show. And it's one of those ones that you pull the antenna out and you flip the little thing down and you talk into it.
Yes.
It is magnificent. So I now have a perfect condition phone. And my intention is to just throw a bit of power through it and make it light up because I'm really going all in.
All in.
This is full commitment.
The
here.
funniest thing is, have you guys ever been in like a large sedan in the back seat that's been like whipped around, like either burnouts or drifting? Because it would be funniest in that.
Not in the back seat.
I happened a few times over the years in the back of Chasers, like JZX 100s, and like sending one into like a big burnout. You feel like you're going. It's like the Gravitron.
Yeah,
Like,
I was going to say, it'd be
whoa,
just like that theme
you go
park
off
ride.
like the 7 Series, like if you, with an LSD, all I was thinking about in my head was how fast would it feel like you're going in the back seat while Scott's throwing that around.
Do you know
Just looping it.
what I need to do is take it to one of Skid Control's dirt events because if I was doing that in the dirt,
Give
then
Dylan a shout out.
I wouldn't feel as bad. And then I could really pin that because I'm pretty good at throwing an automatic car as well. I've learned how to do that.
It'd be so good on the dirt.
It would be so good on the dirt.
I wish my
And then-
WX is still running.
And
I
then
can't
you're
do a
not
dirt
you're
day
not
with you.
doing the mechanical stress of trying to skid it on the bitumen. So this is where this is all going. And then that car needs to
Although
be sold.
you do need to sell it. So
Yeah, I've got to sell it. But look, who wouldn't
That's what
want
gurneys
it?
are for.
Who
I
wouldn't
think
want
before
it?
you...
It's like when Post
before you
Malone
do that-
was drifting the Rolls Royce in what is it, White Iverson? So,
yeah.
yep,
Uh,
this is all going to
No,
work.
no, I was going to say before you sell it, you have to do. I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast where there's guys out there who put Ferrari back boxes, 550 Maranello back boxes on that engine,
Seriously?
and it makes it sound really, really like an F1 car. So
Can you
there's
see
what we want.
There'll be a UK one for a £3.
Yeah,
in
Yeah.
the trading post.
They'll
Can you
swap
find
for a
one and
cereal box?
No,
probably.
you want to. You
Post
know
it
what
over?
this idiot Jas did? He told me to put his postcode in to Facebook Marketplace. I put it in and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. And I just put in like, I don't even know what I put in. I just put the postcode in. I just put like M3, first thing that popped up. The rarest seats available for an E92 M3, like the M Performance seats, Halo seats. They were like £4,000. I'm like, mate, I'm going to fucking close this app. Like, what are you doing? And he's saying to me, I could go look at them and you can buy them.
Hang on. Fridge wanted to know who's working on synthetic fuel. Porsche is also working on it. Apparently, there's a thing down in Tasmania where they have a plant here. So just answering that question.
Toyota are doing it as well. So synthetic hydrogen fuel is definitely moving forward, but it's just really expensive at the moment.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that it's hydrogen fuel cells are more efficient than a hydrogen engine.
Yep.
Which is the problem because hydrogen engines are cool, but they're not very efficient.
Not very efficient.
Whereas a hydrogen fuel cell is very efficient.
Do you know what they need? Cool. Turbochargers. I don't know anything about hydrogen engines, but if we can figure out how to put a blower
Actually,
on
did you guys see the... I should read it out. Did you guys see the post that I shared? A post I shared about if the world was like reversed.
Oh, that was a good one.
I'll read
about
this out.
Electric cars.
This is essentially saying that like if the world was reversed, imagine we lived in a world where all cars were EVs and then came along a new invention, the internal combustion engine. Think how well they would sell. A vehicle half the weight, half the price that will almost quarter the damage done to the road. A vehicle that will be refueled in 1/10 of the time and has a range of up to 4 times the distance in all weather conditions. It does not rely on the environmentally damaging use of non-renewable rare earth elements to power it and uses far less steel and other materials. Just think how excited people would be for such technology. It would sell like hotcakes.
It's gonna come around again. It's gonna go full circle.
Everything always
in the future,
does.
when it's all EV and we're dead and buried in the ground, they're going to come out with an internal combustion engine.
I think
again.
I've said it before. The only thing I'm excited about the future of EV, if it does take off and it goes crazy, is the idea that the roads will be so silent, and then when there's a car that's not an EV, it will be like immense. Like an old Lambo, by then it'll be Aventadors or like muscle cars or whatever. Like imagine sitting as satellites and it's in the major traffic and it's
Quiet.
60 EVs and just in the middle of them is just like a Tirana with a 434
Just
small block
thumping.
in it, just like it would be.
It'll be us.
So cool.
No, I'll be there with my Barrow just going,
That is not something I considered before, but I think that's the silver lining to EVs.
Yeah,
it is.
That is the only positive.
And then I'll do a
to
massive dose when I go past them.
Yeah. That's right. They'll have the recording of a dose, and you'll be able to do a real dose.
because everything will be so quiet, and then you'll just be able to hear like a sound of a car for so far. It'll be so cool.
I like this. So
Hopefully that never happens, but it'll be so cool.
Hopefully, I'm in the ground when that happens.
we'll be right. Now, we're also not going to go too late tonight. It's nearly 11 p.m. here, and we all have school things tomorrow.
True.
Do we have anywhere else we'd like to go this evening? Because I'm just having the best time ever, and I'm worried we'll talk to 1 a.m.
we probably will talk to 1 a.m. What time's it over there now, Jas?
Yeah.
Have you got to get
It's,
to work?
it's 12:30. It's 12:30 p.m. So afternoon. So I'm good.
It's time for a pint.
Yeah, pint or a midday
Yeah,
nap.
warm beer.
Warm beer. Jesus.
I don't have
have a
anywhere
beer
else
to
to
warm
go.
up.
Yeah,
for
look,
now.
I don't,
Keep it
I
short
don't
and
really
sweet.
have a lot of other places to go. I really, that was probably the most exciting thing that's happened in that and my 60 Series Land Cruiser, which is rusting in front of my very eyes. I hadn't driven it since August, so the battery was flat. Yeah, because I just drove it home from the last camping event and just locked it and just, well.
Really?
Luckily, I've got a few cars. And also, I've driven that car a lot over because I drove it to Tassie and I've done some big Ks in that in the last 12 months. Charge the battery up, starts, change the fluids, perfect.
Mm-hmm. As it should be.
Fucking
Toyota reliability.
Land
Toyota
Cruiser.
reliability.
Because I leave for Moreton in 4 days. And I've done zero preparation. Oh, actually, no. I say I've done zero preparation. I have made my own Living the Dream 3x3 tent, my own table cover. I now have a Woodstock bourbon 2-seater couch in the shape of a can that I've also had a custom wrap made for.
My word.
I've bought a set of Pioneer decks for our beach party. Also been part of orchestrating a margarita machine. We did a group buy with the boys. We have 7 kegs of beer coming. Morton's going to go off next weekend. But I'd done zero automotive preparation.
We're only there for 3 nights.
Because I knew Toyota Land Cruiser.
Reliability.
Glorious.
Well, that's the opposite of me. I've just gone and spent over 10 grand on my Hilux, getting it ready, getting it working.
Because you got the flex. Because Gibbo's coming. He's coming to more.
I am. I'm coming this time.
He's going to come and.
So I've owned my Hilux for 3 years, and it has now finally come back from the fabricators. It's had all the suspension replaced, all the steering replaced. I've put a low profile cross member in it. I'm now a professional welder, as I was saying to you before, because I own a grinder and a can of black spray
He's
paint.
a fabricator.
I'm a fabricator, mate.
Mate, floppy disk, we got this.
That's it.
I too am a fabricator. It's really exciting.
I'm a
I was
mechanic.
going to ask you, can you fix rust on your UK cars?
I probably could, actually.
Yeah, it's called black spray paint.
Yeah,
man.
mate, Dulux enamel, $20 a can. Boom.
Mate, 1 mil thick sheets of aluminium and silicon. That does it. And then some black underbody
Look, I've
spray
got to be
over it.
honest with you. I've been
Done quite a
watching
few
some
cars like that. It's
I've been
amazing
watching
what
some
you can get through a
Instagram
road ready.
reels, and I'm just going to go down to Machinery House here, a couple of suburbs over, and I'm going to buy all the machines. I don't know what they're called, but I know that stuff stretches metal or bends metal or puts a thing in, and we're just going to, you do
Yeah,
these
we're
ones.
just
where
going
you
to start making
on the,
panels.
on the English wheel.
Yep.
And we're just going to make our own shit.
Yeah. I apologise to people. I'm not tired by rubbing my eyes. I'm trying to get the grinding dust out of it from all the grinding I've been doing today. It's like sandpaper in my eyeball.
Tremendous. Well,
Old car stories.
I reckon, because I'm really worried because I want to start talking about other things, I think that we should probably start winding this
Call
up.
that? Yep.
Yeah, I think
Call
so,
it there.
because I've had the best night. This is so bloody
Well,
good.
how long have we been going now? You got a time there?
So the record
two and a bit.
time, is 2 hours and 16 minutes, but I think it's
I wish it was
probably
pink eye
took
shaving.
20. Yeah, I think it took about half an hour until we got it right. So hour and a half. That's a decent Sunday night show. That's still
It's not
going to
bad.
bed at a sensible time. That lets Ben go to bed because he gets up at 4 o'clock.
That's
in
a
the morning
record for
and
us.
Runs a marathon.
Under
record
3
for
hours.
it.
That is an absolute record for
Well,
us.
it's
that
so
is.
dangerous because we
Absolutely.
haven't tapped on Drive to Survive.
So many more things we could talk
mate,
about.
Gunter is going to be part of the Formula One commentary team. Yep.
Yeah.
Mate,
He's going to be at Adelaide
mate,
Motorsport
he's going to be
Festival too.
everywhere. He's doing
that man is
speaking
getting
tours.
around.
There are so many.
anybody
And
going to that?
honestly, Drive to Survive, the people, you'll notice when you watch it, there's multiple times. I haven't watched all the episodes, but there's already been multiple times where they're like, that fucking boom mic. Like, they must have the longest boom mic, and they just hold it over groups of people, and they'll be talking about something, and they're like, oh, for fuck's sake. And yeah, they got... I don't understand how Netflix gets away with it, but they were there for Horner's phone call to Ricardo. They were there for the conversation to get rid of debris.
You reckon some of that stuff is like reenacted later?
I don't think so. I think a lot of it is dramatized in the way that they put certain things together.
Yeah.
Like you'll notice that
They're very good at editing.
they make it look like Lando was very close to leaving, where I don't think maybe he was. But at the same time, that's what I want to see. Like, we'll talk about it more on the next
Mate,
episode.
the tension, the drama. We haven't even spoken about Brody. We haven't talked about any of the local stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The absolute shit show that Supercars has been kicking the year off. Erebus,
to
Todd
start with-
Hazelwood doing a Stephen Bradbury. Like, that man had people fall over in front of him, and I'm so excited. And Todd was fucking sending it round the mountain.
He
I don't know
was.
if you saw how fast he went. Unbelievable couple of days. Boost Mobile, old Adderton, that guy is one of my favourite online commentators, pulling his support of the Gold Coast 600. So Boost Mobile out. Coke off the Erebus car.
Yep.
Who was the other? The Shaw and Partners off the Erebus car.
Yeah, so Jazz probably doesn't know this,
Oh.
but so Brody Kostecki, who won the V8 Supercar Championship last year,
Intense.
there's this whole shit show going on, or people listening probably don't know either. This whole shit show going on where he has had a falling out with the team that he was signed with, and he wasn't at the first race, and it's looking like he might not be at the next one either. The champion is not in the championship at the moment. And because of that, and because of the shit show fallout, Erebus's main sponsor was fucking Coca-Cola. They've legged it.
They went to another car.
They went to another car.
They're
That's
on
big dollar
They're on somebody
sponsorship
else's
too.
car.
And Brody Kostecki, one of his lead sponsors, was Boost Mobile, which is a telecom business in Australia.
It's actually
And
pretty big.
It's actually one of our bigger sort of self-managed ones. And Adderton, what's his first name? Peter Adderton, the owner, was just like, well, if fucking Brody Kostecki's not racing for Erebus, I'm not backing Gold Coast 600. And he's the title sponsor of the entire race, and he's legged it.
And
So
he's
the
just
Gold
pulled
Coast
the pin.
600 has got no one.
And they're like, whoops.
Wheelhouse sponsorship.
Yeah, Wheelhouse.
We'll be there.
Exactly
flip
what
some cars,
Rory
boys.
said on the last podcast, which was they need to do a Drive to Survive for that series because it sounds like there's more drama in that than
And
anything.
here's the problem: is they would, but clearly,
The man at the top.
and we
doesn't
talked
give a
about
shit.
this in the last one actually, where nobody is allowed to speak. There is obviously a gag order on everything about everything. I know that the TV licensing is a problem. The way that if you're filming in a pit bay, even with your phone, you cannot have your phone towards the track, because if you upload that on your socials and you're part of a team, mate, you go directly to jail.
Really?
They do not fuck around.
You see, this is F1 with Bernie, though.
It is. This is F1 with Bernie. But it's the fact that they're not letting people talk, and drivers only talk about their experiences once they're out, much like any politician.
It needs new ownership.
The whole
But-
thing is just a fucking train wreck.
I think
and
we'll
it
go.
is
We'll do a
sad.
big motorsport debrief on the next one.
Oh, there's so much to talk about.
Sharpie, I'll look up Gasly's misses for you, and
Start a
I'll
bit earlier too. I
cover that
reckon.
next
Yeah,
time.
we'll start a bit earlier, but this worked really. Look, Sunday night is a pretty nice night to be doing this.
Yeah.
And apparently the YouTube's rewards you for consistency or something. So
The algorithm.
yeah, apparently.
Good old YouTube.
Yeah, Al was telling me about all this stuff. He was saying that they'd always put it up at the same time, and he said they once stopped for 2 weeks.
Yeah, they took a break.
And then
Yeah,
like
killed
YouTube
'em.
punted them to
Yeah.
and just were like
It's brutal.
And,
That's
yeah.
Aggressive.
Brutal.
So look, I'm not
That's
ready.
another rabbit hole.
I'm not sure if I'm ready for that level of pressure, but I just enjoyed Sunday night shit talk.
The Sunday roast.
Oh, Sunday roast.
Yeah.
Yes.
We might go down from 8 watches to 6 watches if that happened.
Mate,
if
we
we lost our
tapped,
algorithm.
we hit 10 watches at one point there.
That's what we like to see.
It was amazing.
Cracking double digits. We're
Cracking
famous.
Double digits. We are a big deal amongst
need to
us
work
and our
anymore.
friends.
That's right. We are big fish
Don't
in a
need to
very
work
small
anymore.
pond.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do is we'll get that website up, and we'll start collecting you $20 a month to be part of our membership. I'll send these things to our lawyers and get it figured out.
That's right.
And then, mate, we're going to start pure chaos. So let us know if you'd be interested in winning a long wheelbase 750 with 300 horsepower
That's never been skidded.
that has absolutely never
Yeah.
been skidded on bitumen.
And has run beautifully for its entire
And it
life.
runs
That's right.
perfectly, and it definitely did not have a washing bucket with petrol in it with 2 submerged
With
pumps
petrol that looks like beer.
with brown fuel coming out the return. We're like, yeah, imagine what the inside of everything looks like.
Varnished to all hell.
Revolting. All right, let's pull it. We're
All
done.
right. I think we're done.
Righto,
Hey,
team.
Hey, Jazz,
Great
thanks.
session.
Bloody good to have
Thank
you
you.
here, mate.
Go have some lunch, Jazz.
Yeah, go and buy some more cars.
Yeah, I will. Don't worry. We'll
Bye.
be ready for the next one.
Buy some V12
just
BMW F1
Keep
exhausts.
sending things. Oh yeah, if you can find me an exhaust for our Formula One car,
Go hit
because
up Milton Keynes, see if they got any left.
I've got to tell you, we are going to run the tunnels of Brisbane. We are going to punch the Clem 7 hotel with the windows down.
Yes.
All our friends in the car, because we could literally do Wheelhouse from the car.
100%.
Yeah, you on mobile. Oh, that'd be so good.
This is
That would actually be cool.
This is
got
actually
the
gonna
room in
happen.
it.
Mate. It has got,
got
the
the
room.
tables.
In such this. Oh,
It's going to happen.
this show just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, we're going to pull the pin. To all our friends,
Guys,
Thanks for
lovely
coming
jumpers.
tonight, guys. Thanks for being with us.
coming,
See you guys.
you absolute
Love your
bloody
Thank
support.
you
legends.
very much.
Thank you for the support, gang. Catch you next time.
Au revoir.
Peace out. See you guys.
Bye bye.
I'm dangerous.
And you'll be able to hear Jazz now. I'll put the speakers back up. I've ended the stream. So we are no longer. Oh, there you go.